243, first of the brand new season. And
it's way too long.
A lot of stuff to go over today. It's been a weird week, you know?
Yeah.
It's been a very weird week, at least when it comes to the number of different things the community has been talking about. Of course, it started out with all the crazy stuff with the Bungie reveal. It kind of revamped itself to around the Umbral engrams, and now it's about forges. Everybody's mad about being AFK in a forge. And
again.
Again! It's like, this isn't new. This is happening again. This has been a thing since forges were released, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about everybody's thoughts on that. But for now, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 243 of the Planet Destiny podcast. The first episode of an entirely new season, and I would argue an entirely new age in the world of Destiny 2. This week has been titanic when it comes to news. Before we get into that, we have the most special of guests here this week. The one, the only, Ninjy is going to be joining us on the show. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It was hard to contain Aura's fangirling. Yeah, before
I was like, yo, Dan, reached out to Ninjy. He said he'd be a guest. All right. I wouldn't call that fangirling.
I mean,
you fangirled pretty hard.
It crosses into the realm of fangirling when your humble request happens 15 times. Like, hey, man, did you reach out to Ninjy yet? I did. Did you reach out to Ninjy yet?
I would also blame me for that. I would also blame me for that.
I mean, but it's worthwhile. I mean, it's not like it's not like we don't have a fairly legendary figure here. From
he's got a couple of ticks on the resume that are impressive. You know what I mean? A few.
Yeah.
I think he added to one this week too.
Oh, did he?
Something about a dungeon. Something about it solo, maybe.
Some weird new Tron Legacy type thing, man. Some weird Disney Tron crossover. But for the audience, for the few people there who may not know who you are, Ninjy, I'll just take a little bit of time to let them know who you are, what you do, and why you might be a little legendary.
I'm Ninjy. I play a lot of Destiny, and some people might know me because I accidentally got to Riven first. That was pretty fun.
Incidentally.
A lot of time talking about that.
Yeah, that was the first, and then again got lucky during the Niobe Labs and solved a riddle that was people were stuck on for like 48 hours. That was kind of funny, and it happened to be like the stupidest thing in the world.
Was that before or after Bungie gave us the actual answer? Did you get it before they did?
So it was the one that literally was like this big French thing that literally just meant like French tree, and everyone was like stuck overthinking it and trying to like, and then like the dude that like created it, or one of the dudes that created it, was like, literally, it's just a forest, like get over it. And, like, he just kept saying that on Twitter, but people didn't care. Like, they kept, like going, like saying like, oh, this is so much more than that. Yeah, and it literally just ended up being like, stand on the stupid flower and shoot a tree.
What a weird night that was, because few times within the Destiny community have we legitimately run into a puzzle that this community hasn't been able to blow through after putting its heads together. That was a wonderful night because everyone was mad. Nothing made sense. I can remember I watched your stream that day, and figuring that part out was like equal parts amazing and the most frustrating thing in the world, because the number of esoteric solutions people were trying to come up with for it was insane. Like, well, maybe we need to wait for this time and shoot at this angle from this side of the room. And it was literally just stand and shoot. Just stand on this symbol and shoot. What was it like going through Niobe Labs? Because that was really probably one of the wildest challenges Bungie has made.
It was really fun. I really liked that puzzle. I've said before, I would love to see more things like that in the future. I think overall it was phenomenally done. Like, it sucks when Bungie releases something and it's buggy. Like one of the clues like just didn't work, and so it didn't make any sense. And that was the one that was the next one that we were completely stumped, and then they actually had to like give us the answer. So that sucks, but it's like at the end of the day, like that happens. Bugs happen. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
There's millions of us playing their game. There's only like 20 something testers. I don't know. They at most.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you, man. I wish we had more challenges like that. I loved it. That was a pretty fun night.
So Ninja, you played Destiny 1, right?
Yep.
So did you spend that much time with the slam dunk contest in Oryx when they gave us that? Were you doing like some cryptic stuff with that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The funny thing is, to this day, I still think there's more to that, and I think Bungie told us it wasn't to get us away from it. Like I could easily see them like still being like a secret to that, because I just can't. I don't believe them that it's just a stupid basketball court and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, the basketball court of Oryx was another wild weekend of Destiny. And I'm right there with you, man. Like, why would you code that entire area, have it functional with those mechanics, put in the weirdest, most obscure unlock method I think ever devised to get in there, and then just be like, oh no, that's nothing, bros. pay no attention to the basketball court of Oryx there. There's nothing to see there. Like, I don't know if it was a testing area for Bungie or maybe it was going to be a secret part of the raid for something else, but I'm right there with you. I think there was more to that than meets the eye, and they just decided to cut it off and tell us not to worry about it.
I think that was like maybe they coded it and it wouldn't function properly.
Maybe.
And the only way that they were like, you know what, we'll just say it was there for no reason and we'll just pretend it never happened and onward. Yeah. You know, look at this little thing over here instead. Yay, carrots.
Definitely a possibility. Or it's just like one of those things where it's like, Bungie loves secrets, and you can go all the way back to Halo, where there was a secret that wasn't found out until like year 2 of Destiny 1 that like someone just finally found out. And like Bungie will create secrets, and they don't care if we ever find it or not. Like that's just their thing. So like, you know, it's like the whole 7th fog chest. Like, is there actually still a chest that no one found? Like they would never tell you if it was or not. So
you wonder if they're like hanging on their office, like on the wall, like all the things nobody's found yet.
Yeah.
But like when someone finds it, they take it off. Just like framed up on like Luke Smith's wall or whatever.
Somebody walks in and they just push a whiteboard in front of it.
yeah. The dry erase board comes down like the theater. You know what I mean? The white screen. Yeah, just covered up. Nobody can see it.
I tell you what, that 7th chest had better be there when Vaulted Glass returns to D2, because you know it's going to be a search the moment that drops. Don't touch the Spirit Bloom. You're going to despawn chest number 7. Right, so of course that was Niobe Labs. Another huge, hilarious moment was, of course, the Last Wish raid, which was one of the more puzzle-focused raids in Destiny's history. And the vault. I can remember how long it took people to get through the vault, just trying to figure out what the heck was going on there. And of course, you and your group had a very interesting experience in there that I remember I got to watch live. I was one of the people there who kind of filtered my way into your chat and got to sit back and watch what happened. And then the one thing I really remember is you guys completing it, losing your minds, and then everybody kind of saying, what did we do? Chat being a little confused, like, wait, what happened? What was that experience like?
It was hilarious. It was, you know, again, if people don't know this, we 100% accidentally beat it. It was not intentional, but we didn't know that at the time. There was nothing that told us that we did anything wrong. So like everyone, you know, was like, oh, you brute forced it. And we were like, did we? Like, I don't know. Like we were just, because we were doing something. We did have a strategy and it was working. And so we just assumed, oh, that's it. It's that easy. Yeah. And then, you know, like 4 hours later, when the entire community is still there, we're like, how have they not figured this out yet? Like, that seems so strange. Like, it was literally the first, like, data and math class was the second team to get to Riven, and it was 4 hours later. Wow. They're the first team to actually, like, solve it.
So did you end up brute forcing it then?
Yeah, completely. we literally just slammed where we came out. That was it. That's all we did.
Yeah. That was a matter of it worked. That was a matter of the percentages of the signs being on. What has anybody ever crunched the numbers to what the chances are of that actually being
27? It's not.
That's not that bad then.
It's happened a lot more than I've actually. So since realizing that we brute forced it like the next weekend, every time we've done it, I've paid attention to see if we could have done it again, and we've done it multiple times. Like you might not realize you're doing it because you're actually doing the mechanic, but it's not.
Yeah.
Bad. Because think about it this way, like so again, there's 3 plates when you come out. If there's always 2 and 1, right? Like there's always like 2 that are the same symbol, 1 that's not. If you happen to get the one that's by itself the first time you come out, then it's 100% you're going to do it every time anyways.
Yeah.
So then it increases the chances of it being super easy. So again, it's not It's not like it's still lucky, but obviously it's not as people were saying like it's like 1 in a billion, and it's like no, it's not that rare.
Not quite that rare, but still incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that we did it within like it was our second run.
Yeah. That's what I remember.
Wild.
Yeah, we were there for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to see you guys be able to push through that and like everyone be so simultaneously confused as to I just remember the chat losing its mind like what physical embodiment of poggers happening, and then just absolute confusion as to what was going on and how it worked. And 1 in 27, yeah, I guess in retrospect the chances weren't that crazy, but for it to happen that quickly on the world's first race, unbelievably hilarious stuff. So of course that's the last wish. Of course, we talked a bit about Niobe Labs. I'm super interested in hearing how you got involved with Destiny at all. Like, what was your first experience with the franchise? How did you get into this game?
I live in LA, and I used to go to E3 all the time when it was like closed because I used to get tickets through my school. And I just happened to play like the alpha. I think it was like the year before it launched, so like 2013, I think is when they had it. Like actually, like the alpha at E3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I happened just to play it like when it was like a completely different game. Like it was such a different thing that launched. It was so weird. So I happened to play it when I was at E3, and then ever since then I've just been playing it. I also, I've always been a PvP person for a long time. And so I just assumed that Destiny was going to be like the next big PvP game because, Bungie, like that's what everyone kind of thought. But boy, was I wrong.
So don't let Ninjy fool you about his comments involved with PvP, because the dude can play. It doesn't matter where you put Ninjy in this play space. He's a player. He can play this game very well. PvP, PvE. Now, I've never seen you play Gambit personally, but I'd imagine that you could hold your own in that play space too. I just never caught it live. Ninjy's not going to talk a lot about himself, so let us do the talking about him if you don't already know or haven't quite figured it out. He's a very talented, very cerebral player. He's a very smart dude who has a very good memory, because I would have already forgotten the percentages of completing the vault. Like by now, I would have already written that off my memory and forgotten it. So definitely somebody you want to pay attention to their thoughts as we go, especially as we transition and talk about what's coming in this new season. That's my opinion of somebody who's watched him for a while now, just so you guys are aware, anybody listening.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we did have a brand new season of content start up this week. It was brought in, of course, by the destruction of the Almighty. That was a pretty neat little, I guess you could call it, community event that Bungie pulled off in the tower. I think we talked a bit about that last week. We said, cool idea. Want to see more of it? Maybe it doesn't need to be an hour and a half long for people to sit back and watch that. But of course, this week, we got an absolutely titanic amount of news. Not only do we get to see what's going to be coming, of course, across Season 11, the season of arrivals, we got to see Destiny 2 Beyond Light, which is going to be dropping on September 22nd. And then we got to see all the crazy things that are going to be going along with that. Bungie announced some pretty exciting stuff like the Destiny content vault, of course, where they're going to be taking older, lesser played content and moving it into a vault of sorts so that they can make space in the game to bring back older content and newer content. Stuff like Europa is going to be playable. The Cosmodrome is going to be returning. D1 content. A lot of D1 content is going to be coming back, starting with Vault of Glass next year, which, unbelievable. And then beyond that, they announced the Witch Queen, which is going to be next year's expansion, and then Lightfall, which is going to be the expansion after that. Personally, I thought that was way more than what Bungie was going to be teasing us with over the course of the week. So, of course, starting with you, Ninjy, I'd love to get your thoughts on everything we learned about Destiny this week. What are you most excited for coming up with Beyond Light, and what's going to be coming beyond that?
I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Like you said, I was not expecting the next 3 years to be announced. I really thought they were just going to go super heavy into September, and that was fine. But yeah, no, overall, it's super exciting. I think, like, personally, just the new element. I think stasis is definitely the most important thing that's coming, because, like they said, like, we have been, we've had 3 subclasses, 3 elements since year 2 of Destiny 1. It's been so long since they've introduced something this huge, and I think people aren't. I don't think people are realizing how big it is. Like people are talking
Mhm.
about it and they're excited about it, but I don't think they realize like how game changing that is for the game. It's a whole new.
Yeah.
It'll completely change the game the way we play. So I think that's the biggest thing. And but yeah, I mean, all of it is super exciting. I mean, I've been waiting for Savathun for years, so that will also be a really good DLC.
I'm glad
As
that that's
Nim
going to be a
cracks a
DLC, not
smile.
a season too, because
Yeah.
I was really
Right?
afraid that Savathun wouldn't get the grandiose, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I think is deserving of, and Nem can attest to this too. Hi Nem, by the way, welcome back. Can attest to something like this. I think Savathun's a huge part of the story, so I'm looking forward to that.
A strike boss? You didn't want her to be a
The
strike boss?
Nokris treatment. Yeah.
We say
Yeah.
that now, but they talked about Sepkis coming back, and like
Right.
Sepkis was no joke back in D1 original, like the first couple of whatever
First
weeks
Nightfall was
or
rough.
yeah, like that was. So we'll see. That goes back to strikes beating us up in ways that don't involve having to use certain weapons and whatnot, which is a whole separate conversation. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm super happy that Savathun is going to be the focus of an incoming full DLC story because Lord knows, Nim feels it on this one. Don't do these big lore bosses dirty by just making them a strike boss and completely inconsequential to a story. So I'm really happy to see that there's going to be a greater story surrounding all of that coming up soon. And of course, I could not be more psyched with some of the returning content. Vault of Glass, of course, got announced. Psyched about that. Psyched about some of these Destiny 1 strikes coming back with, of course, Sepix Prime. Omnigul, I think they said is going to be one of the first strikes that is coming back. Willa Crota. We'll see if that good old grasp of Malak is going to be there and the farm for all of that stuff coming soon. There's a lot of really exciting stuff on the horizon. And after a season that was, well, season of the worthy, I would say I've played more Destiny this week than I think I did all of the previous season.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy with where the game is and where it's going in the next couple of months. So, we of course have a new season starting up now. What does everybody think about it? You enjoying your time on it, Ninjy?
Yeah, it's amazing. Something I've been waiting for, honestly, for the last year. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the best season of all of year 3 in my opinion so far.
Yeah.
What have you been spending your time doing?
I have spent an ungodly amount of hours in the dungeon.
Did you do solo
Yeah.
flawless yet or just solo?
I solo flawless it
Yeah,
2 days
thought so.
ago.
Jeez Louise.
So yeah, like day 1, just went into it blind with 2 of my friends and just, we love mechanics. Like we love like puzzle solving and stuff like that. I think that's like me and my friends, like one of our biggest things in Destiny. We always, no matter what, like we just like going into things blind. Like it started all the way back in D1. Like we weren't even ever really like, world's first raiders. Like we weren't trying to be like world's first raiders. It was more about just not getting it ruined. We wanted to see it and figure it out for ourselves. And then we just, realized that we were actually good at it. And so,
Yeah.
so like going into the dungeon blind was just super, super fun. Learning the mechanics. The mechanics in this dungeon are amazing. Just like the idea of the whole like light and dark thing. I like the whole like, I want to dive into like the lore part at some point because I want to see like what this lore is about. But like the 9 are crazy. They're weird. They're super, super nuts. But yeah, I just really like that they're like, they keep shoving us this in our face, like light versus dark. It's the same thing. What are you talking about?
Right.
That's what Nem's here
Which-
for. Nem's here to clarify all of the lore problems that we might have.
So has everybody else
Uh,
here gone through
no.
the dungeon?
Nope.
No, I haven't even seen it.
I made it to the boss
What about you,
today.
Dan?
I made it to the
I've
boss
remained
today.
blind to it.
So, okay. So how would you rank this dungeon in comparison to some of the previous ones we've got?
I like it a lot. That's all I can say. I love all my children the same.
I think
Oh, come on now. Every
Cop-out
parent knows
answer,
that's a
Dan.
lie.
What a cop-out answer.
I love all my children the same.
That's not divisive enough, Dan. We need more drama.
No.
That's fine. Wait until later. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Unfiltered Danfinity. Oh my.
Getting some Dan After Dark. I like it. What
Dan?
about you, Ninjy? How do you rank it compared to some of the other dungeons?
it's really hard because I love the idea of the dungeons. They're all amazing. I think
Oh, yeah.
it's number 2 because something that plays a big part to me is something that's difficult. It's the reason why the Last Wish is my favorite raid because it's by far the most difficult.
Oh, yeah.
I think this raid this dungeon is difficult, but the Shadow Throne is still the most difficult. Like
Mhm.
it's just even 2 years later, it is not an easy dungeon. Like trying to solo that even to this day, like people struggle. It's not like it's really really hard. And I think that this dungeon is definitely like Pit of Heresy is easy. Like Pit of Heresy is significantly easier than these two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, I think the fun factor is nuts. Like the whole Tron vibe that they have going is amazing. You know, and like
Yeah.
being someone who has like, you know, I was born in the 80s, so I'm a lot older than people think. And so I've seen the original Tron. And then like I'm a huge Daft Punk fan. So the second Tron was even better, in my opinion, just from that, like the visuals and the music and stuff. So yeah, this definitely feels like Tron. So I like that a lot.
It has
Hits all the right notes for you.
Oh yeah.
It has so
Did
many
you do
wide
it, Nem?
spaces too.
Have you done
Yeah,
it yet?
it's
No.
huge.
Huge.
No, I
I've
haven't seen
been-
anything in it.
So because all of this content is going away in 3 months, I have a lot of crap I need to go back and get. So
Mhm.
I've spent the week playing Reckoning to finish
so
out my
sorry.
Gambit armor for my collections, because I just get sick of seeing my collections be so low. So I've
Buddy,
been
I'm so
playing
sorry.
Reckoning, which is just still the most infuriating, frustrating engagement that have, like, the bridge is still the worst thing that's ever happened in this game. It's still infuriating to be, if you're not on it for the entire duration, the whole thing fails and falls apart. So I've been doing that. That's where I've been, and right now I'm AFKing Forges. So can't wait to
Same.
hear the
Same.
conversation about that later.
Oh, we're gonna get into it. Absolutely gonna get into it. Nim. So of course you're back on the show tonight, and I think it's really interesting that you are, and I'm glad that you are, because I wanted to talk to you about something in particular. You are
Mhm.
someone who did not spend much time playing Destiny 2 over the course of the season of Worth.
No,
I don't think you maxed out. Did you max out any of the bunkers?
I did.
Mhm.
Actually, I managed to get the Almighty title by
Oh, yeah.
literally
Yeah.
playing
Before
Crucible.
I did, by the way.
I mean,
You
I'm
showed
not
up
the
like
one
3
who took,
hours
like-
late, buddy. I don't want to hear a word out of you, man.
Hey, man. Had to stay at work.
Yeah, no, I got all of those bits just by pretty much playing PvP like almost exclusively. There was like
Right.
I went off and did tier 1 Reckoning when it was heavyweight, because you get like 50 bits, or you got 50 bits from that.
Yeah.
And it took just a couple of minutes, less than a Crucible match. You get more. It's like, all right, I did that, but that's the only reason how and why I managed to get Almighty. And I wouldn't have like chased the title if it wasn't for Dan. It's like, hey, TBL wants to do the hard-coded victory triumph. Do you want to help? And I was like, sure, why not? I'll pitch in. And yeah, other than that,
It really wasn't that bad of a title to get. I guess
No.
in retrospect, it didn't take that long at all. I would say the hardest thing was probably the hard-coded victory thing. And, you know, once you had a group together who knew what they were doing, that was trivial. Which, by the way, thanks, Dan. Appreciate the help there.
Don't thank me.
Getting that done took no time at all.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun with
Yeah,
you guys.
good time.
Thank Buddha, who was in the instance, who knew who both me
Yeah.
and Dan were. Like, hey, we're big fans. Hey, open up your fire team real quick. Let us all in. Yeah, no problem. And we got an instance.
Yeah,
This man
shout out to Buddha.
used the celebrity.
using his
The-
clout.
The thing about it was there was no Nightfall point system where he had to go and get like 80 billion kills using his solar class, then use the Void Super, and then use like a Arc Fart. I don't even know. Like they did away with that after season of was it Undying?
Yeah.
Was the season that they did that was just brutal. So this one was a lot easier to.
Mhm.
And I have a funny feeling that whatever the title is this season's going to be something similar.
Right. So my point there was that, Nim, you didn't play a lot of last season. Have you been playing Season of Arrivals? And what do you think of it in contrast?
So I have been playing a lot. Like you mentioned, this is probably the most that I've played in a long time. I'm actually playing on my Titan right now,
Yeah.
and for the past 2 seasons, I've pretty much exclusively been playing on my Warlock. For a couple of reasons. The reveal definitely kind of like lit a fire under my butt to kind of like start playing again. A lot of the reasons why I kind of like didn't play Worthy was because it just felt like the uncertainty of what was going to be coming in the future of Destiny, it was very demotivational for me. And I'm not a Trials guy, so I didn't really bother playing Trials, and I had no point in powering up. So there is no reason for me to chase Pinnacle power either. But this time around, for those that don't know, the dungeon prophecy is going to be cycling out temporarily when the season's over. So you do have the season's length to go and run that. And so now I am, I've pretty much gone through almost every avenue of power and Pinnacle minus Garden of Salvation on my Warlock. I'm starting on my Titan now. Trying to get up there, and it's been fun. I think the new public event Contact, obviously coming from me, this is going to sound like a biased opinion, but it's a lot more fun than the previous one.
Second,
agreed. Yeah.
So it's I think it's a little bit more accessible. I don't know. It's been fun, and getting your ass handed to like when you turn it into heroic has been pretty great too.
Yeah, I'm super happy to hear that, although I am a little bit confused. It's neat that you're going through and getting all your powerfuls and all that kind of stuff done on multiple characters, but what do you mean, bro? You're not just sitting in a forge? You're actually playing the game to get leveled up? What a weirdo. Shun this man.
We don't talk about what I do between the hour of 12 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right, because of course, one big thing that's resurfaced this season, of course, is the AFK Forge Farm, which has been a thing since Forges were introduced way back in the season of the Forge with Black Armory and all of that kind of stuff. And the reason it has resurfaced is because the new engram, the Umbral engram, which, by the way, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. Fantastic system. I love it. I love that you can curate the items that you're getting out of an engram now. It's like taking the best of the menagerie system and kind of mixing it in with a little bit of the bunker stuff we had last season. But of course, you can get those Umbral engrams for failing forges. It's really upon the completion of any activity, you have a chance to get those to drop. So once again, people are just AFKing in forges for an easy chance at getting the Umbral engrams. And those Umbral engrams, for whatever reason right now, it's something like every other one that you decrypt and turn in, focus into armor or whatnot, is giving you a powerful reward drop. So you can kind of just AFK farm those things and boost your power pretty easily, which, like I said earlier, I'm doing it right now. I'm sitting in a forge. Stay mad, chat.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're in a forge right now. It's 3 out of the 5 of us.
Ninja doesn't need them.
He
if
doesn't
Ninja actually needed them, might be a different story.
Yeah,
but he doesn't need power level. Yeah. That comes with a disclaimer, right?
Right, of course.
So that would be 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'll do it for the materials.
Yeah.
Wait, do you get materials too?
Well, because you dismantle your, you have
yeah.
shards and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like there's a pressure for relevancy, like especially if like you're doing helps on Twitch and things of that nature, and the Forge Farm kind of helps with that artificially, right?
Well, let's start with where does power level matter right now in the game?
Only in England.
Only in the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Iron Banner, and when Trials makes its return, currently disabled because nobody could get access to the lighthouse. You got 3 areas, 2 of which are PvP, relatively high stakes, skill-based matchmaking on Iron Banner, win-based matchmaking in Trials, and where light level might make a difference between a kill and no kill at high skill levels, because that 3 or 4 tap might be really crucial to your combat. So what you're seeing is people just want to be able to enjoy the end game content. And the only way to do that is to be max power level. There's no content to consume at anything lower than, because when we got the season, we got this really cool story mission, right?
Yep.
And then everything that was new went away after you were completed. You did it, you were done. Now you've got the public event and you've got the dungeon.
The dungeon,
with very little in between. So I think that's why you're seeing this mad rush to get to high power level, because people just want to participate. This is kind of like when the Forges first came out. Oddly enough, it's kind of like we just want to be able to actually enjoy the new content. This is the way we can do it. So here we are.
So not only that, so I haven't seen like any content of the dungeon because I want to go in blind as well. But I noticed that there are 2 sets of armor that seem to be tied with the dungeon, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, Ninja, if you can
Yeah.
confirm
So
that.
yeah, so there's a brand new armor piece, like our armor set, and then there's the Trials Year 1 armor, like from the
Right.
beginning of this game. It's put back into the game.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, both of those are dropping from there. Which again, you know, this being what I think it's 1040 the dungeon.
Yeah, that's where it
Yes.
Or
starts.
that's where it starts.
1060 boss.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Got a lot of
That's gonna
farming,
take me.
man.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while. But no, I think that's one of the things that I kind of personally missed from something like this. First of all, that the fact that the dungeon is dropping not 1, but 2 sets of armor is pretty large, because in comparison to before, Shattered Throne was dropping Dreaming City gear that people had already started acquiring, and Pit of Heresy was dropping armor that you got in the Shadowkeep campaign. So both of those
Which was atrocious
rewards
looking,
were
by the way, super ugly.
Right.
not great. It was really deflating, but now we have this new like pinnacle activity that is dropping 2 different sets of armor. Of course, one is reprised, and the other one, I'm assuming it was going to be the Eververse set that got moved out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty sick, because now this is why I'm trying to power up my characters, so I can try and actually get that gear set, something to chase.
And the best part is that it's farmable. Every time you complete an encounter, you are guaranteed to drop. Every single time, no matter how many times you do it, you always get something.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
There is
I was not aware of that.
weird thing or negative thing. I don't know if it's negative, but like, you know how like in the Garden Raid, when you're first starting, if you got like something, like you got an armor piece, you were like guaranteed to get that from the chest. Like you couldn't get something different. It was always something that you've already gotten. This is exactly the same way. You can't get like new things once you've done your weekly stuff. So you're like locked to that. And I don't know if that's gonna like. I don't know if the whole pool will eventually unlock, or if it's gonna always be like that. Like every week, you can only get what you got that week. I don't know.
That would be a really interesting way to keep it farmable, so it keeps people chasing, perfect rolls of very specific items, while not also just throwing a bunch of all the loots that you never have to run it again. I don't know if that's brilliant or if it's awful.
That's why I said I don't know if it's a negative thing or not. It's hard to tell.
Right now it might be good, because we're getting a lot of what we might have as primary really good builds being sunset. So if you really need a good stat roll on a gauntlet, and you get that gauntlet, it might give you more motivation to get back in there and continue to farm, because that's what you're saying, right? If I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah.
You'll know that that's going to give you a high chance of maybe getting something. And for a lot of people, that matters. It's your stat builds when you're trying to do, especially top end, high stakes end game content. That build does matter. So maybe that's a good thing for now. Might get old as things progress, but this goes away for at least a little bit of time at the end of the season. My question is this the only end game content we're going to get this entire season? Yeah. And they gave it to us day one.
Right off the bat.
I don't think so. I think there's something secret. Well, because there's the two events, right? Like there's the Moments of Triumph and Solstice. But I don't know if that's not necessarily end game. There's also 2 exotics.
We do have 2 exotics. We got the Trace Rifle, Traveler's Judgment or Chosen, whatever the sidearm is. I'm
the OG sidearm.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that's going to be a Moments of Triumph for Solstice of Heroes. What item? Yeah.
It's got to be, considering it's like the first thing that it's the Kavastov all over again.
Exactly. Yep.
Except without the nostalgia. I don't know how many people are nostalgic for Traveler's Judgment, but whatever, we'll take it. So yeah, that's an interesting question, and I would agree with you, Ninjy, that there's probably going to be something else, because that's a really good point. We've got three months of this. We know of 2 events that are coming. Is that really going to be the only in-game PvE activity that we've got? I mean, yeah, there's Master Nightfall hunts and Grandmaster Nightfalls and all that kind of stuff, but do you really count that as being the in-game? No, I think you'd count stuff like dungeons and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what Bungie puts forward. I've been saying it for a while. We're about due for a secret exotic mission, something like Outbreak Perfected or Whisper of the Worm. and I I am eagerly hoping something like that pops up soon.
Yeah.
Who
It's
knows?
been over a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year, right? Because Outbreak Perfected was what, Season
It
of
was a couple
Opulence?
weeks before. No, it was the Gambit season. It was a couple weeks. It was like the
Right.
very end of it. We had like a couple weeks, and then we went into Opulence.
Yeah, it was right after the spring event, right?
His memory is so
Arbalest
good.
and all that.
His memory is so good.
Even his memory's top tier.
Yeah, like I'm like, what? I had waffles for breakfast, right? He's like, yeah, it was like, he has like the number of days now down. It was 643 days, 4 hours. I was like, what? Anyway,
So, go ahead.
you think light level will matter for that though? Like I'm talking about endgame stuff. Like I remember when those missions dropped. I mean, honestly, some of them might still represent a challenge in terms of. I mean, I think I just ran the Outbreak mission with a buddy of mine, and I got shit on repeatedly by the turrets.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but I don't know.
What
I-
makes them difficult is the time aspect. I don't think it's necessarily supposed to be
Yeah.
like hard
Oh, yeah,
weight
yeah,
wise.
yeah.
It's where they have the limits. I think that's how
Mhm.
they stay relevant. But yeah,
What do you think it
yeah,
would
I
be?
agree. There's probably not going to be any end game because we're not going to get a raid, obviously.
Oh, I wish. I would. I think that'd be an interesting way for them to do it. And this is already a weird season, They went all this time without advertising what season 11 was at
Yeah.
all until the day of release, which, by the way, I'm 100% okay with that now.
Every
Now
time.
that we've
Yeah.
seen how it's worked, Bungie, you can continue to do it that way for seasons of content. Maybe not for DLC packs. You got to make some money off of those. But when it comes to seasonal releases, I'm 100% okay with them staying completely mum until it's time to release and then just having a bunch of new stuff there. But when it comes to like an in-game hidden mission like that, of course, those are always tied to returning exotics. Say we did get, say in a month or two, somebody finds some weird scannable item out in the middle of the EDZ that leads to a mission like that. Starting with you, Ninjy, what exotic would you, because it's been raid exotics thus far, what exotic would you like to see come back?
I mean, I'm the one exotic that I'm surprised that's not in the game, mostly just because it was super loved. But I when I take like 2 seconds to think about it, I realize why it's not. But it's like I'm surprised Icebreaker's not in the game. But then again,
Yeah.
it ruins PvP, which
Right.
I hate that that's a factor. That
We've got
plays.
Revoker, which is bad enough, dude. We don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need
Yeah.
Icebreaker.
But yeah, I don't know. It's surprising to me that gun isn't in the game because yeah, like it was a really fun PvE weapon, like for strikes, for anything. You never had to worry about
Yeah.
ammo. You can always have a special weapon. So I think that's
It's a
cool. weapon 'cause-
signature weapon, right? Like that wasn't a raid exotic, was it? It wasn't a Vault
No.
Classic.
No, it was just a
weapon.
regular exotic.
Technically, neither was Whisper. Like Whisper was just part of that secret mission.
Right.
I mean, it came from Crota, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, because I can't
I-
see. I don't know. I can't see Vex Method Class coming back. I just
Not even when Vogue
I don't know
comes
how you
back?
bring back Vogue and not bring it back. I just
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
understand how you
maybe.
do that.
There's gonna be some
I don't
salt if there's no Vex Mythic
Yeah.
class.
Could
when
you
Vogue
imagine? Could you? They'll bring what was Tolan, the pulse rifle that was linked to Tolan that we had to go back and get.
Bad
the-
juju.
Bad juju.
No,
yeah.
not the
No,
bad juju. What was it? Maybe not Tolan.
the time thing.
Yeah, the
Oh,
you guys don't
No
remember what it
Time
was
to
called
Explain?
because like that's
yeah.
it was
No
it
Time
was
to
the
Explain?
stranger's rifle, but it was exotic. What was it called?
No time to
no
explain.
It's no
Yeah.
time to explain.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that's it? They bring back Vault of Glass instead of
Oh,
Vex. They
no.
give us no time to explain.
Aura.
That's-
Here's the
yeah.
thing. It's confirmed coming back in Beyond Light, so you may be cursing us right now. Careful with what you
To
say,
do with
brother.
this, cursing us. I didn't tell you I
But
want to
here's
get
the thing.
15 times, and I sure as shit have nothing to do with this gun coming back to the game. God damn it.
Would you rather Vex Method Class come back, or would you rather have something that's new and good? Because
I mean,
Vex
you
Method
know the
Class was
fusion
only
rifle
good.
Oh.
main, so
Yeah, but it was only good for such a tiny period of the game.
Like
wouldn't you
2
rather have something
months.
that was yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have something new. But with that said, I also don't want them to like. I want them to bring back all the other legendaries because those were amazing. Like every legendary in that
Yeah.
raid was god tier.
oh,
Yeah.
Fatebringer
Oh my
has to come back
goodness.
as a non-exotic weapon.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah,
like
dude.
the biggest question that I have towards them bringing like the greatest hits of Destiny 1 forward is that are they going to tie like the weapons and armor that accompanied that raid?
I don't see how you
forward.
You
could.
have to.
I think they have to do
I
a
mean,
mix
that's-
though. I think they can't just bring back everything. Like you have to do something new. So like I think
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
would make sense to do new armor, and
So-
then only for Crota and for Vault of Glass bring back the weapons because the other raid weapons were horrible. Like Kingsfolk
For the most
raid
part.
weapons are literally like
I
awful.
love the Defiance of Yasmin. I really did love that. That's
Oh,
nice.
Defiance of aim assist.
It didn't have the highest aim assist in the game. Oh my god. It was like
So-
the 5th. It wasn't even the top 3. The aim assist of like 63. It was like, oh dude, a gun aims for yourself, dude. Hey, what? Like, what do you mean? Anyway.
So
He says while using supremacy or something like that.
do you think they bring Vault of Glass back in thematically? Like they tie it into story somehow? Or do you think that it's
No.
just you get it because video
Yeah.
game?
Yeah.
I think that.
you
I think
just
game.
get it. I mean, that's because it's tied directly into this DCV, the Destiny content vault. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't. That sounds like its
Right.
own thing instead of like out in the world somewhere.
I just feel like it'd be way too much, like too annoying to try to do it lore wise every time they want to
Yeah.
bring something back. Like, okay, let's hit
Yeah.
up Osiris and go into the time thing, and then yeah, we're good. Like that'd just be weird.
I just
Yeah, I
Looking
don't
into your
think we need
past,
that.
Guardian, I found this.
So this is the thing, and this is just simply because I play on PC, but I just can't imagine how gorgeous Vault of Glass is going to look
Oh,
yeah.
with
man.
the resolution and the frame rate of what PCs are capable. Because that thing was gorgeous on console in 2014.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
they can literally just unplug it and plug it back in. Does it be part of a story? I don't give a shit. I literally just want to see it and see how it plays and feels on PC. 'Cause,
With
my
105
God,
FOV
like-
and 144 frames.
Oh, my goodness.
well, I guarantee you it's going to be like 88 frames because there's just no way. But in any event, it's going to be higher than 30. I just,
Yeah.
I just don't know how. Like, there's a lot going on, especially during confluxes. I'd imagine frame rate might be somewhat of a struggle for some builds, but
Mhm.
in any event, it's going to look really, really, really good. And we're going to have
Yeah.
Mantle.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
If there was
Oh,
one place where
Templar
Mantle
fight.
mattered a lot,
We're gonna
it
have
would have been
Mantle,
nice.
and
That's
everybody's
the
gonna
ring.
have a res. Like one res for that.
Yeah,
Right,
throughout the entire
yes.
fight.
Yeah, I think that's a problem though.
Wait, there are no
Yeah.
reses?
Well, I mean, in
like
hard
the
mode.
weird thing is these raids were created with a whole different structure, and
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
this structure doesn't fit that. So I think they're gonna have to really think about reworking something. Like they're gonna have to do some differences with
Mhm.
the raid.
Which
I'll bring
honestly,
something-
I expected. Yeah.
I wanted to bring something up that like I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about or thinking about, but like obviously, so they've confirmed Vault of Glass is coming out next year, and I would guess it's probably like the March DLC. So
Yeah.
like, doesn't that also confirm that Venus will be in the game that same
Mm.
season? Doesn't that
One of
pretty
my
much guarantee
favorite social spaces ever. The
Yeah.
Ishtar
Oh, yeah.
Collective. Like, man.
that? Agreed.
Better than IO.
Things better than
Um,
IO.
Everything is, which is, I'm not mad about it going away. Bye, Asher.
Yeah.
It's been
He's going in the
fun.
vault too. He's gonna
He's
lock
going
away
in the
somewhere. His crazy ass. Yeah.
But you bring up a really interesting notion there, Ninjy. Of then when they bring back these raids, they're gonna have to change some fundamental things because we don't have a normal and a hard mode anymore. So I'd imagine they're going to be merging some of the mechanics or just bringing in the hard mode and probably changing up some of the raid mechanics moving forward. Which personally, I'm fine. I'm fine if they add a few new raid mechanics into the mix when it comes to stuff like Vault of Glass, so that it's still reminiscent of the experience we had, 5 years ago. But there's some new stuff in there too that you're going to have to get used to and going to have to learn to surmount.
Get ready to see some unstoppable or some
Don't even
overload
say it.
minotaurs
Don't.
in there.
Unstoppable Atheon.
It's
Wait,
coming.
What?
That's what makes
Atheon
me
just
sad.
charges
He's able
Barrier
to throw some
supplicants?
champions in there.
Oh no. Anti-barrier Atheon just decides, all right, I'm tired of taking damage. Shields up.
Anti-barrier
Oh, no.
oracles, dude, because shooting those weren't difficult enough for most people.
Yeah.
Just make
I don't
sure to
want
keep
any
your
of
eye
that.
on Dan
I
when he
want-
picks
I
up the
want-
relic.
No, I want the exact version of Vault of Glass as it was. Give
Yeah.
us a res token or make it so if we die, we're dead. Code it like that and call it a day. Like that's it. It does not. They don't know. Nothing in this game needs champions. Like they don't need to exist in this game for it to be difficult. There's other things Bungie can do, but this is the environment we live in. Maybe by then, if
Yeah.
it is March, maybe by then some things change.
I mean, I think didn't they already announce that champions were going to be implemented in the returning raids?
He said
Did they already
he
say it?
said it's very possible. Like that was his example
I don't
of
know.
something.
like a champion somewhere in Vault
Yeah.
of Glass. Like he said it kind of
Exactly.
nonchalantly, so it was like, there's definitely going to be a champion,
Champion
or
I
two.
think he was
Jordan,
asking.
dude.
I'm pretty sure he was just asking to see what the community would think, and so that was like him hinting it, and everyone was kind of just like,
Oh
Ew.
no!
We don't like
Thinking of all
champions
the-
and patrols. What do you think we're gonna like them in a raid for? Like,
Right. I'm
Well,
thinking
would
of
you
all
have a
the
problem?
horrible combinations there, like
Unstoppable
Gorgons.
Yeah.
Unstoppable Gorgons, anti-barrier supplicants are going to fuck you up. Oh my goodness! I don't know if I want that. I don't think I do. I don't think I want champions in my
pop a
Vault of Glass
bubble,
experience.
explode.
Explode. It's over. Yeah, that could cause quite a few problems. And just
We're
thinking,
giving them
I'm
ideas. I
assuming.
think we're giving them ideas.
So we should stop. So I
should
shouldn't
probably
talk
stop.
about my champion idea for Crota's End
Oh no, please go
No.
ahead.
for Crota's End.
with the sniper knights on the towers. Like,
Oh,
you can
you
get some,
no,
some
don't do
barrier
that.
sniper knights. Oh,
Well, maybe they'll
Yeah.
fix it so they
God.
can actually hit you no matter where you are on the map because you just go in the front and not get damaged by them. So if they
Yeah,
actually
let's make
change
it
their
so that-
trajectory, where if we're on that little lip out front of the glass door, we can actually get hit by them, then
no, it's even easier than that. Unstoppable Crota. Now him going into the crystal room is a feature, not a glitch. He just chases you all the way around. Oh, he hops
like
down
it
into the
down.
safe room. Yeah. I would take it. You see, make the entire fight a ring around the rosy, hide and go seek sort of thing, where he can just chase you anywhere. I'd take
Oh,
it.
yeah.
How does that feel, Nim? Is it worth getting your necrochasm back now?
Yes.
I was gonna
Forever.
say I could have answered that
Yes.
raid weapon that Nem would have wanted. I could have answered that 3 years ago with just by
Yeah.
saying Necrochasm. I don't.
Which
Do they need to bring back every raid though? Like, do we need Crota? Do we need?
Yes, we need Crota. What do you mean? Best raid ever.
Best strike.
It actually was one of the best raids after they made the changes where you couldn't skip the bridge and everybody got the sword
Yeah.
when
That
you
was
crossed
fun.
it.
was
That
awesome.
it really got like the fun factor went up quite a bit with the changes that they made to it at the end. It's a shame that it didn't
Yeah.
ship like that, but all right, chat. Okay.
Yeah, but the way it shipped was hilarious.
It was great.
Remember the
Like,
first bug? Just everybody go stand in the room and have a warlock and jump off and self-rip, and you finished. It was it.
That's
That's
it.
how you beat the
That was it.
tower.
then Bungie's like, okay, well, we'll fix that. And then it's just climb up to the top of the tower and wait.
Cross. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Crota's End gets made fun of all the time. It is legitimately one of my favorite experiences from Destiny 1 Year 1. Me and my buddy,
Me too.
just two-manning Crota's End. Like, I consider that to be one of my favorite achievements in Destiny 1. I love that raid so much. And if it's coming
too.
back to D2 like VOG, I can't wait to do the Abyss again. Oh, I cannot wait for that experience. It's going to be
the
a
best
lot of
opening encounter by far.
easily.
It
Yeah, I
was
think
very
that's-
hive. It was very spooky. It was very dark. It was very hectic. And before we knew about all the cheeses and the way you like jump on top of the one lamp, and it
Rocket
flashed you up
Man.
to the second level, and the end when you got to the bridge was legit. Like if you didn't know to stand on that rock to
Oh, yeah,
take
you
down
get
the ogre, you
destroyed.
were in some trouble. So, but like always, we just find ways to. I mean, I'm doing it right now. We find the easy way around stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
my
agree.
god,
I can,
the number
that
of
raid's
cheeses.
amazing.
It was great.
People make fun of that raid all the time. Call it a strike, call it easy. But like, if you played it the first couple weeks, it's one of the hardest raids ever made because
Oh,
Crota
yeah.
was no joke. He destroyed you, and you also had to be like on light to be even be able to do like damage to him. It was crazy. Like the difference between that raid and like new raids is like now it takes teamwork. That raid, if you had one godly player, it was easy. Like
You
that
could
person
carry.
could carry you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I miss that kind of
Invis
experience.
Hunter for swords, or I mean, I think I played with like one
Oh, yeah.
Titan ever who could actually be a sword bearer and live through. Who could bait the
Titan was
the
broken.
slam.
You could just float above him, and he couldn't do anything to you.
None of the Titans we had knew that. Not one.
Unlikely.
Not one of them. But no, I think you're right. And like, I wonder if Bungie's almost afraid to do that. Like, maybe Niobe Labs was the first instance where they were like, we don't really care if you can't. I mean, other than the code not being right, but the difficulty level was like, if you can't beat this, oh well, you're only going to get an emblem and a
That's
ghost
it.
from it. But like the other instances of like Bungie's not caring that they kicked our ass, they're kind of far fetched in my opinion. If anything, things are engineered to be beaten instead of engineered for people to fail, which is why I was kind of hoping that we actually didn't destroy the Almighty, and that the Almighty crashed in the tower and burned everything up when we actually failed as Guardians. But we all know how that ended up.
Yep.
Yeah, there aren't really that many experiences like that where Bungie kind of leaves it as being a situation of only those who are good enough can get the thing. And I wouldn't be mad if there were a few more experiences like that. There's like a set of armor or an emblem or something that's in the game that you can only get from this super hard activity like Niobe Labs, and then, you know, that's
they
it.
did
Who knows?
technically just do that again. The solo flawless dungeon gives you an emblem, which is the
True.
first time ever
Yeah.
that they've done that. All the other solo flawlesses didn't give you anything.
Oh, the
Just
Solo
was a
Flawless
yeah,
Pit gave you an
triumph.
emblem too.
As
Yeah.
I
well,
thought it was
as well as
just an
Shattered
achievement.
Throne.
Is it?
Did
I'm
they?
pretty sure there's. I think there's Shattered Throne. didn't,
That was solo.
Shadow Throne gives
That
you
was
an
just
emblem
solo.
for solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
not
Yeah.
which I
flawless.
have
And
because
then
I soloed
Pit
it.
is just a triumph. I'm pretty sure. I don't think
I
it's
think
There's
there's
an
two
emblem
different
for Pit.
emblems. Solo Flawless Pit gives you. It's like got like 3
Really?
projectiles
Okay, maybe
coming out of it.
maybe I'm
I
losing
think.
it.
It's got the obelisk that you have to
Oh,
defend in
yeah.
the Chamber of Suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I'm
two.
forgetting.
Well, you get one for solo and you get one for Solo Flawless for Pit. But I think
Okay, yeah.
people wrote it off because other than the totem room for Pit, you can kind of Solo Flawless it if you're just patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like, whereas you can't really Solo Flawless Shattered Throne if you're patient, because you only get so many damage phases for, I forget the name of the
Dolan
ogre,
Karo?
Morgeth or Morgeth,
Or
one of
Morgeth.
them.
Morgeth,
You only get
Morgeth,
what, 4
one of them.
damage phases. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you're right that when they gave us Shattered Throne, you got an emblem for Flawless, you got a Triumph with 0 Triumph score for Solo Flawless.
Love 0 triumph score.
Yeah, we talked about this in your chat at nauseum. Anyway,
Yeah, so I'm definitely down with more stuff like that being in the game. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and do Pit of Heresy again and get my Solo Flawless emblem that I didn't know was a thing until right now. But so where does that leave us? I mean, of course we've got the season going on right now. There were a couple of other points of conversation, we'll say, that popped up during the week. I think everybody here, you know, we all know about the Forge AFK thing. I don't think anybody really cares. I don't know why people are so mad about it. It's just an arbitrary way to get your light up.
You got to
Like we
give them
talked about
something to be mad about, TBL.
And it's
we had something to be mad about.
I can understand it if you're not dropping your light and doing everything that you can to make it
That's
so
a
that
dick
you're
move.
not getting in somebody else's way. But for
Yeah, that's
like
a dick move.
yeah, but for all the people who are just there are people who complain on Twitter about the way other people play because they feel it diminishes their play, and it doesn't at all.
doesn't.
It doesn't
Literally
affect you
doesn't.
at all.
Dude,
So-
we've been doing this since the loot cave. I don't understand why people are still so hung up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have tied their controllers with like rubber bands and literally win AFK
Yeah.
for the loot cave, just to constantly shoot in the direction of the loot.
Yeah.
There was somebody who built a thing with Legos in order to like purchase materials from Spider.
Like a real life macro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have House of Wolves driving back and forth between chests constantly.
the
That was
key
Oh
fun.
fob.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
glorious times.
for the
Those are
keys,
glorious
right?
times.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
need
And
the
then they
to
brought
come
it back in
for the
Menagerie
keys.
on accident.
I remember
We did it-
that.
Then we were doing it in Menagerie.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
It's
People
been
are
a
always
thing.
gonna do
Exploits.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my thing is this: the people who are complaining about it are the same people who failed when they had 2 functioning teammates in the
Yeah.
Forge. So like, what are you like? You're mad because you're not getting the clear done, and now you're mad because it's free gear when like you're failing anyway. You were going to fail this anyway. Like, you've participated, you would still have failed it, and you're still angry about it. And the other thing is like in Reddit, and it's like yelling at content creators saying it like this is all of our faults. Like, is the other thing. It's like these, like, I don't know what these people must live such a blessed life that this is the biggest thing that they have to worry about.
This is the thing they complain about.
Every day is some content creator AFK farming the Forge, like, "Rah!" Like how is your life so good
Yeah.
that this is the worst thing going on, especially right now?
It's
Like,
it's not like there's anything else going on right now.
Shut
No,
up!
nothing.
I'm so tired of bitching. It's toxic, dude. It's so toxic, but I don't care. Just like, I'm so
Don't
sick
care
of
at all.
complaining. And like the
Is
other
half
thing is,
tilted. Sure.
like when I look at my Twitter feed and I'm seeing really cool content where like People are solo flawlessing this dungeon I haven't even looked at yet. People are celebrating all these different goals they're hitting. And my timeline is just 100% full of people's opinions about AFK farmers. I'm losing brain cells reading it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Anybody, but I don't care what you think about AFK farmers. And I sure shit don't want to read it. And it's like well-written, like addressed like to the media. Let me explain to you my deep thoughts about AFK. Like, I don't care. Show me what you're actually working on. Like, what is the content? If you're a content creator, what are you actually creating right now? Like, your opinion on an AFK farmer isn't content. It's not.
Well, there could be.
I will say I'm enjoying the copy pop. Yeah.
Well, unless you're Joe overrated and everybody thinks he's serious.
Oh my
Everybody thought he was serious.
Oh, everybody thought he was 100%. Dude.
He used a Sekiro meme, and then all of a sudden everybody's bent out of shape. Ugh.
I think Aztec Ross like retweeted him like joking, and everyone in Aztec's like community like went after Joe. Like I was like, he was missing the /s. Like that was one of the bits of content that was actually out there to consume, was the people throwing hate at one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah,
right.
I've had breakfast with that man. He's very nice.
He's super nice, almost too nice.
It's just it's really curious to me that people care so much. It's something that almost certainly isn't going to affect you.
No,
at all.
Until they play Iron Banner and they're mad because they ran strikes instead of just doing laundry, clean up around the house and leaving the farm open. Because they're mad because they were just, I'd rather go kill, I'd rather do the corrupted 100 times. Like, no, I would rather AFK farm than do the corrupted ever again. By the way, it's the Nightfall for anybody who do 3 Nightfalls in a row.
It's probably also going to be one that you're going to have to play for.
I should have got Conqueror last season.
Conqueror this season.
Grandmaster,
yeah.
It's awful. I'm sorry if you didn't get like Conqueror last season.
I didn't get it
this season. Corrupted is one of them. There's another terrible one. This season's gonna be awful for that.
That's on the list of titles I'll never get because no.
It's one of the ones I'm considering not getting because I liked when Nightfalls were really difficult, but I liked them when they were difficult and it still allowed me to play how I want to play. And the Nightfalls don't do that right now. Like Nightfalls in D1, I could use you had your burns and whatnot, so you had to whether you would use a Fatebringer or a Vision of Confluence. And people made an argument for Atheon's Epilogue for Void, which I never quite understood. There was the hand cannon from Crota too. That was Void, wasn't it?
Word of Crota.
Word of Crota. But like those to me presented more difficulty, higher stakes, and were not as annoying as this current version of Nightfall content. So it's the first time I'm considering not going after a title because I have almost all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, Ninjy, like, would you rather have Nightfalls as they were in?
I hate the current Nightfall system. I don't think it's interesting. I think it's a fake difficulty. It's like, I don't know. It's sit in the back and go extremely slow and boring, and I just don't think it's interesting. There's a better way. And then the worst part is that you get absolutely nothing from it other than a title. Like the title's the only reward, which is not enough.
The rewards need to be way better for that, for running.
But what rewards are left to be gotten? Like
guns, loot, not materials, and not enhancement cores and all that crap is so boring. Like I feel bad for people that like love trials because they implemented the same like reward system into trials, and it's like that's not interesting. Like I get the PvP players don't have access to like that stuff as easily, but like the gunsmith sells all that stuff, right? Can't you just buy it from him?
Yep.
Like it's rather expensive, but you could,
Okay.
With the trading from Spider and whatnot, it's feasible, but it probably takes a bit more brain power or planning than I think I would want to. Like when I play this game, I don't want to be like, all right, well, let me spend 20 minutes going over here and buying this and going over there and exchanging it and going over here and do it. Like I want to play the game. You know what I mean? Right. Other than when I'm AFK farming for power level. Other than that, I want to play the game. So it's like I understand that aspect of things, but it's like what can they do? Like we keep saying guns, we just want more guns, but there's sunsetting so that they can create more opportunities for us because we're still using Spare Rations, Beloved or Revoker and whatever. And Mountaintop. Mountaintop, my God. And this new grenade launcher, which is really fun, is not helping with the catalyst, is not helping the grenade launchers in Crucible. But it's like at some point, don't you think the creative juices run dry and there's nothing else that they can, because they've given us new perks that nobody's cared about. Celerity is a perk that nobody gives a flying. Fallout made a really cool video and it comes in handy once every 40 games. And then there's Elemental Capacitor, which is apparently really, really bad. It's like they're trying.
I like
but
it. I like
doesn't
elemental
surprise me,
capacity.
man.
Well,
I talked about it a little
it
bit
gives.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, elemental capacitor just gives more stability to my hand cannons and I run
Reload
void all the
speed,
time.
yeah.
So it's like, and you know, no, it's for void is stability for hand
Void
cannons.
stability,
So like,
solar's reload speed. Yeah.
yeah, and I use an elite, so I could use all the stability I can get to like
Ever since
try
switching
and
to
go
mouse and
against.
keyboard, man, SMGs are wild. I can't believe.
I can't do it. It's
They're
it's
good.
too uncomfortable for me for an extended period of time. Becomes not fun.
I don't know. I feel like there's just not much room for perks, and the fact that we gravitate towards damage perks and leave everything else kind of by the wayside. And now reload perks have been knocked back a little bit, so it's like I get that aspect, but I don't know what Bungie can do right now to satisfy and scratch that itch when it like feels like the gameplay is really the foundational problem more so than the weapons. Like this goes right back to Grandmasters and Champions and having to use a bow or having to use a sidearm. You know what I mean? Like if all that went away, we went back to the D1 system of Nightfalls, it would maybe give breathing room for weapons we currently already have in the sandbox to shine a bit more. Does that make
The
sense?
problem, I mean, yeah, but I think one of the things too that really hurts the Nightfalls and stuff is the exclusives. Because you know the exclusives that we had for not even just Nightfalls but for strikes in general in Destiny 1 were milestones better than what we have right now in Destiny 2, and some of those strikes included 2 exclusives. It included like an armor specific for a specific class and
the
a
brothers,
weapon.
right? The brothers,
The brothers, yeah, the brothers
Titan
had like
armor.
that big ass gauntlet. Ala
Treads
Cool had
upon
the Titan
stars.
helmet, and the
Tannic
dark
yeah,
cloak.
they have all 3 cloaks. Like I don't know.
Dark
I think that's something that still to this day
Strikes.
in Destiny 2 is still severely lacking is in
Strikes
like the
need
strikes and stuff.
Dude, the dark
Yeah.
cloak was one of the
A lot of
greatest, one of the most innovative, coolest strikes I'd ever participated in. Like being in that room that was completely pitch black, you couldn't see anything with like waves of
sunless
enemies coming
cell.
at you. That
Yeah.
was
Such a cool strike. Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
to this day.
Hey, I was reminiscing, but remember doing that for all 3 exotic swords with those
Yes.
specific
Yep.
knights?
And having to
Gotta
plan
kill 'em in
around it
order.
and screwing it up, and then
God.
being the one guy who
Yep.
messed it up and killed the dude too soon. Like I've never been that guy.
I remember
Dude,
running that with Holtzman, and he got debated out of his sword the first time we went through it. We had to run through it again to get him his stuff. Yeah, strikes need a lot of help. They need a lot of help right now in the game. There's no real reason to run them.
There's so
outside
many.
of
It's
your
just a waste of space.
And
Yep.
the in one of the new issues that kind of like I just thought about this too that comes to mind is that now with the DCV coming soon, so a lot of those strikes are going to get vaulted along with their planets
Yeah.
too. So
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it also helps because they don't have to focus on making like armor for every single strike in the game, you know, as they're released. But yeah, so I don't know. They definitely need help though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I hope they get on sometime soon, because there's not really much reason to run strikes outside of completing bounties that require you to, or getting your powerful and pinnacles every week.
Mhm.
That's it.
It just
Outside of
becomes
that, I
a
can't
speed
think of
running
one.
thing at that point too. You're not really enjoying it. Like the one strike that I do like doing is Savathun Song, because I just like Titan.
Yeah.
And I like going through like the
The
what is it, Pacific Arcology or whatever.
The arcology,
I just something about Titan in that area I think is really, really well designed from like an art perspective. And the story,
ready to
the
say
voice
goodbye.
acting is horrific, but the story kind of never gets old to me.
No,
So that's
turn
one of
back.
the ones that I think they
Turn
got right.
back.
Yeah,
so bad,
no,
dude.
don't do it. Turn back, like you know. And the fact that
so
they sent
bad.
like a team of like, I don't know, the fact there's like 9 guardians went into the strike and didn't, like what guardians went into, actually I can't even ask that because I've played with
Forges
several
with
blueberries who I
this
think
week,
would be that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
They were
can't
just AFK farming Savathun, bro.
even- nine guardians went into that strike and didn't make it out. It was like,
They died to a wizard.
yeah,
One.
a red
One
bar.
wizard.
Yeah.
What if it was during the time that like 9 guardians were in there and they were ready, and then out of nowhere the light just goes away, and that was it. That's the last thing they saw.
Lore wise, that could explain it. Maybe. it's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to D1 strikes like Sepix Prime and whatnot coming back, because I'm hoping those strikes are going to return with some of the strike specific loot tied to them. Because I'll happily grind for a Grasp of Malak or
Gun is so ugly.
That.
Yeah,
it's very.
I'll get
ugly,
one for
man.
collections, but I'll never use it.
It was good though. It was a pretty good PvP weapon.
It's a very good gun, but it took up the entire screen when you ADS'd it, and I was like, I can't see anything. Like the scope was
PC,
terrible.
bro.
The edges were like, it was like, again, we talked about this. The Suros is actually a bigger gun on the screen, but because the Suros is like flat surfaces, it gives you better visibility. I couldn't see shit when I used the Grasp. Like I felt like I couldn't see anything at all through that gun.
Just pull the trigger and pray.
So when they
a million times
when they were showing they said that they wanted to look back when they showed in the reveal the timeline of Destiny coming up to that. I was like, are they going to announce that they're bringing Destiny 1 to PC?
I thought that's where they were going.
I thought that's where they were going too. Like just like trying to connect those dots. Clearly I was wrong, but this is a way for them to do that, for them to bring Destiny 1 to PC in a way that doesn't involve another SKU.
I think it also gives room for Solstice of Heroes and whatever the other event is this summer, because they're taking away all that stuff. So you're giving reason for people to go back and maybe explore some content that they didn't do while it was live, because I couldn't stand Season of the Drifter. But it's like now with Solstice of Heroes or whatever the hell it's called for the summer event, where everything's gonna be brought forward and we're gonna be given reason to go back and do the stuff that's going to be shelved. It also it seems like it's a domino that falls before bringing Destiny 1 stuff to Destiny 2, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's just finally them, saying that there's no Destiny 1, there's no Destiny 2. This is just Destiny. It's all the same world. We're making one giant game, but because of limitations on console, we can't give you everything, but we can bring things in and out constantly, and we can have the B1 universe now. With this DCB thing.
Well, they're not bringing like all of the stuff from Destiny 1. I think they're just bringing certain bits and pieces of it.
Well, what I mean is they could, like, at any point in time, they could take anything from Destiny 1 and it can now be in the same universe. Like, it's not obviously like, there's certain things that will never return. Like Galley's gone forever. Like, it's not coming back.
I want a gun that just shoots wolf backgrounds, nothing else. Yeah. Just a wolf background.
I'd take that too.
You just throw it as a grenade.
So it's a skip grenade.
This is complete off topic. Did you ever play Uncle Fester for NES?
The
Adam's Family Uncle Fester for NES. It was one of the hardest video games ever made. It was incredibly difficult. Did you ever play it though?
I had an Uncle Fester.
Oh my, that doesn't surprise me, Dan.
That's such a Dan answer.
Yeah, that's 100% Dan for me. No, if nobody ever has it, it's not worth talking about it. I'm just curious. It's a rather obscure game. Well, there's a gun that Fester uses that shoots like little swirls. And that's what I imagine, like a gun that, like if it was just a wolf background gun, I just imagine them being like little swirls that come out of the barrel of the gun. But it just brought me back to, I had it. I don't know why I had it, but that game was insanely difficult at like 6 years old.
So you want Uncle Fester's swirl gun in Destiny?
Yeah, I'd like that to be the wolf background only.
I'd take that. I'd accept that. And what I was going to say is, with them bringing all this Destiny 1 content back, it's also kind of a brilliant move, because it shows us what the content release schedule is going to be over the next year. How are they going to pad things out in between Beyond Light and the Witch Queen? Destiny 1 content. That's what's going to be dropping over the course of the seasons that are going to be happening after Beyond Light drops. And I think it's like taking what they did with Age of Triumph and Destiny 1 and superimposing it onto Destiny 2. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. I'm 100% okay with it.
I think like the other thing is, again, like they're geniuses, because like I think a lot of people forget they just lost Activision, which is good for the game. It's good for the game because they can do what they want and what the community wants, where Activision didn't want that. But like whether people want to realize this or not, Activision is one of the biggest companies in the world, video game wise. They're massive. They have so many employees. We had 2 extra developers. Like like money is like the one thing that people like know, but like it's not just money, it's manpower. Bungie lost 2/3 of their manpower. That's why we had so many raids in Destiny. Look at the raids in Destiny 2 compared to Destiny 1. We have 7 raids right now. We had 4 in Destiny 1 in the same amount of time. So like this is a cheap and free way for them to give us more than 1 raid a year now. Like we only got 1 raid this entire year. It's because they don't have the people to make more raids. right? Where now we'll get one big one in September and we'll get another raid. It'll just be a D1 raid, but it's still a raid. Like it's still something every year. So,
but they were so good, it doesn't matter. Like they were so well done. There's really not a bad raid in Destiny 1 out of all 4. I'm not a big fan of Wrath of the Machine, but I can appreciate why other people like it. I still think
you're wrong.
Well, what's his name? Vosik or whatever was still the hardest part of that entire raid. He was the most challenging encounter, but it's like they're not bringing bad content into Destiny 2. They're bringing what many see as the flagship content. Mm-hmm. So it's not only that they're bringing in, but they're bringing in some of the best stuff that they'd ever made.
Well, you can feed on nostalgia pretty hard.
I wonder if we can mantle during running Oryx.
Yeah,
because that would have saved a lot of runs.
So
all of it.
Joe Blackburn returned to Bungie this week.
I saw that.
He did.
Which is huge.
He's an amazing dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that has me excited. I was like, "Oh, you're back? Welcome. We'd love to have you back. We didn't want to see you go."
He is like, single-handedly the reason why, like, he made Season of Opulence for people who don't know that. Like, he was like one of the lead developers of that entire season. That's why that season was so amazing.
Oh yeah. One of the best in Destiny too. So super happy to see him back there. It might be the best overall season. At least thus far. So yeah, super psyched about that, and psyched about the future of the franchise. There's a lot of really cool things that are getting ready to come up. And as we get closer to the end of the show with the question and answer section, there was one last thing that we had to bring up as a news topic, because Forges have kind of taken the heat off of it, but people got really mad or really excited earlier in the week when the TWAB came out and Bungie announced something that I never would have expected to see. Skill-based matchmaking.
Oh boy.
Is gone.
Thank God.
God.
But it never existed, TBL. It was never in the player pool anyway.
Right.
It was just pure coincidence that I would have 5 players who had 0.3s and be against an entire team of 6. You must be crazy.
No, you just live in Korea, my friend. That's why all of your games are against Korea.
Right.
I didn't know I lived in Asia until this past year.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize I had so many Russian neighbors. When I jump in for quick play. Yeah, of all the monumental announcements that happened this week, I never would have guessed that would ever be one of them, because they've taken such a staunch approach to skill-based matchmaking thus far, since it was really pushed into heavy effect. What was it? Right after House of Wolves in the Taken King and Destiny 1, and it's kind of been a thing ever since. I've seen a lot of people mistakenly saying, well, Bungie, they really pushed out skill-based matchmaking in October of 2019. No, it has been a heavy part of the matchmaking algorithm since like Taken King. They
did accidentally remove it once.
And it was glorious.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was
like
amazing.
The best weekend ever. And of course, this week, what are you guys' thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on them removing skill-based matchmaking? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do you guys feel? Ninjy?
The best possible thing in the world. I don't understand why it exists in something called quick play. Like,
right.
I support it being in anything that's competitive, even though Destiny is not a competitive game. But like, sure, if you want to put it in something that's considered competitive, sure, that's fine. I don't care. But in something that's just meant to be dumb and fun, it never made any sense.
Yeah. Absolutely agreed. And to be perfectly clear with everybody, it's been removed from, I think they said everything but elimination, survival, freelance survival, and trials. And I think it might still be in classic mix or something like that. Lobby matchmaking might be
own thing. Something's wrong with that playlist.
It's like some weird form of
team-based
matchmaking.
Trials is card-based matchmaking still. Yeah. So while it's not supposedly skill-based, chances are you're going to play better players as you get higher in your card.
Yeah. And then they didn't say anything about Iron Banner, so we just don't know until Tuesday, right?
Dylan did confirm it's no longer an Iron Banner.
What?
Okay. Cosmo.
So somebody asked him about that after the TWAB dropped. He said, no, it's skill-based matchmaking is no longer an Iron Banner, which means Iron Banner for the first time in like 5 years is going
my hair off. I literally just shit in it. Sorry. That made me actually poop my pants. What are you? I'm sorry. For anybody who doesn't know, I've hated Iron Banner since its inception because skill-based matchmaking and light level enabling has made the experience just terrible.
Awful.
So if it's actually removed, then there's a chance when I shoot someone they're going to take damage. I'm all for it. Because Iron Banner's been unplayable for the entirety of Destiny 2.
Agreed. And D1.
Yeah. And D1. It always had the most aggressive skill-based algorithm ever since its release in D1. And I could not be happier. Is Iron Banner this week, or have they announced one?
I don't think they've announced it yet.
They
They're
have not
talking about it
announced
like it's
one yet.
Tuesday, honestly, but
You keep saying Tuesday. I don't know where that's coming from.
neither do
'Cause I don't remember that in the TWAB. If it is, great. I'm looking forward to it because it'll be the first time that Iron Banner's not going to be a bag of nonsense cats. And I cannot wait to enjoy what that's going to be like. So have you guys had a chance to jump into Crucible at all this week? And what has your experience been like? Anybody?
So
yeah,
I'm a mixed bag. I was getting stomped on PC, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But on PlayStation, I'm swimming somewhere toward middle to top. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the platform that you play on and which pool that you're in, but that's where I am with it. It can be a good thing. For me on PC, I don't think that's my PvP place anymore.
You think so?
Yeah.
Things are a little rougher in that playlist now.
Yeah. For me, at least, I don't know.
The ability to 180 on a controller player is one of the biggest advantages you can have in a first-person shooter. Like, it takes me. I might still be turning around on my controller in a Crucible match. I started like 2 days ago.
Some say he's still turning.
Yeah. So I haven't played. I played one game of Crucible because I switched to mouse and keyboard like late last week. So I haven't jumped into like full-time Crucible because I am nowhere near the player on mouse and keyboard that I am on a controller. No, not even close. I'm still learning keybinds and stuff, but I don't know if I even noticed if skill-based matchmaking was in play or not because I was using a Uriel's gift in a bug out bag or some stupid. I wasn't going through dim and making a loadout. I was just using whatever guns I had on to get whatever gear I was going to get to drop. So I haven't had a chance to really dive into it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Nim?
I played it, obviously. I play a lot of PvP, but I don't feel a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then again, I'm the type of player who is that disconnected with Crucible. I just go in there and I have fun. I don't like pay too much attention to like who I'm facing up against or what. If I die, whatever. So to me, it's just like I don't feel anything different. So, I mean, for those who celebrate, yay for you guys. I'm glad you guys are happy.
Oh, I'm celebrating.
Oh, I know you were because you did a 180 on them tweets.
Oh, the Iron Banner tweets? Yeah, absolutely. When I found out Iron Banner was going to be skill-based matchmaking free, oh, absolutely. It might actually be fun this time. And when it comes to my experience with the Crucible, I've been playing a lot of PvP over the course of the week. I've been trying to get back into Destiny Crucible, so before the end of last season, I had been jumping back in and having a decent time with it. I have noticed such a clear difference in quality between my match connections and my matchmaking times. It's unbelievable. Whereas before, I would start up a queue for the control playlist or start up a queue for whatever was the weekly playlist. I'd be able to leave, go make a sandwich, heat that sandwich up, eat it, make another one for when I get hungry later, come back and still have 4 minutes before I got into a match. And then when I finally got into a match, everyone is teleporting. It's an awful experience. You're getting shot around corners. That has been the most clear difference that I've experienced now that they've made some of the changes to matchmaking. I was playing a little bit of Crucible earlier today, and I barely had time to turn away and make a text before I was getting in and out of lobbies. It was just that quick, and that has been such a fantastic quality of life change, at least for me in the Crucible, and I could not be happier. I could not be happier with them removing skill-based matchmaking, and I think it's been a fantastic change that has been a long time coming. I wish they would have done this way back in D1.
I'm seeing a lot of god tier players put their score sheets on Twitter a lot more than they used to. I'm seeing a lot more 40 plus, games. 50.
Yeah.
Drewski's like 74 kill game with the
I saw
Redrix's broadsword or claymore or whatever.
Yep.
So I'm seeing a lot more of that than I had in the past. My concern is how many people can take getting their ass kicked like that and come back for more.
Yeah.
And are we eventually going to weed out bad?
So like here's the thing with that though. Like a lot of people see those numbers and it looks very intimidating.
Yeah.
But the scoring system in Destiny 2 is not the same that we had in Destiny 1 because an assist counts as a kill for you. So you can just like hit somebody and then somebody else will finish him off and it'll count for you as like a kill, even though you didn't get that. So I feel like not to like take that away from a lot of those fantastic players, but some of those numbers are a little inflated because of the scoring system.
Oh, they all are. Every single number is a little bit inflated because assists count. So absolutely. And I don't think the score sheet is what scares people away. I think it's the experience in that game. Like if I was playing that game and I got deleted 80 times or whatever, like how many people are going to be like, yeah, you know what? I want to play more and get better and find ways to hone my skill versus be like, I'm just never going to play again. And then by default, we're back to a skill-based matchmaking system because only good players are playing.
Don't you also think that only happens once every 20 games? Or like, I like to use this example when people talk about skill-based matchmaking, but it's like, there's a reason why the best players are called 1%ers. There's only 1% of us. Like there's so few of those great players. Like people act like they're going to see him every game. They're not going to see him every game. Right. There's so many bad players in the game. You're going to see bad players most of the time. Like the way you're going to improve is getting your ass kicked every time. How do you think good players get good? They get destroyed and they pick themselves back up again and they get better. Like you have to play someone better than you to get better. You can't get better always playing like the same level of words.
Right. Yeah. And Imtash had a video talking about that and the statistical curve of that exact situation. A lot of people who are complaining about the removal of skill-based matchmaking are bringing that up, saying, great, so now I'm going to get pub stomped by content creators all the time. No, that's literally the 1% of the 1% of this community and the top players. No, you're not going to be queuing up with Frostbolt every single game that you're playing. You've got like a 1 in 1 million chance of queuing up with Frostbolt.
I had enough of that last season. Thank you very much.
There was a time about a year ago, around the time of Season of Opulence, when I was really heavy into Crucible. I was just in there every day. And I don't know if he lives near me or what, but I could count it. At least once or twice a day, I would queue with Frostbolt. And let me be clear, I am not a Frostbolt level of player. So it was always a little interesting to see that pop up on a regular rotation.
Is here in LA. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm in Florida.
Ninjy lives on my street with the amount of times that we would match each other in the mornings. And I don't think I ever knew you were from LA.
Yeah.
I'm from Philly. So like we might
makes no sense.
Yeah, maybe we'll never match again. Whatsoever. Honestly, like I don't know, but we used to match.
Classic mix is connection based. What do you mean?
Yeah,
totally.
In any event.
Yeah, so I think it's a good change. I'm right there with you, Ninjy. I've told the story a bunch of times here on the podcast. When it comes to skill-based matchmaking and in any kind of game like this, if you want to get better, you got to play those who are better. I can still remember to this day my very first game of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, jumping into a lobby and getting destroyed. I had AC-130s dropped on me. I had Pavlos dropped on me. I think I got nuked on my first or second game of Modern Warfare and said, okay, I suck at this, but I want to get better. So I played. I learned how to play the game. I started earning kill streaks, and before you knew it, I was the dude dropping AC-130s and Pavlos and nukes on people. And ultimately, that's just the way it is. We're going to have to play, get better. I understand there are people who don't want to get pub stomped all the time. I do think Bungie could probably benefit, not from re-implementing some kind of skill algorithm, but maybe putting in a freelance playlist so that 6 stacks aren't dropping up against the lowest of light players all the time. I think there's probably some middle ground that could be found there. But ultimately, I think getting rid of skill-based matchmaking in these playlists that are supposed to be a bit more of a casual experience can only do good for the game, because matchmaking has been real bad in Destiny 2 for a real long time. Quality of the Crucible, as we can see with the player numbers dropping off of a cliff, especially over the last couple of months, has been a real consequence of that. So I'm happy to see it.
like honestly, as a player who recently switched to mouse and keyboard, I might be a little bit more inclined to play if there's no skill-based matchmaking, because I might be at a point where I can compete with players versus going in and playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like going in and playing literally like 6 teams of Ninjy or Frost and MTashed and any number of players who are insane. That's what I used to match. And I would not want to be learning mouse and keyboard. Like my buds who are insanely good players, like, let's play private matches. Oh, you can learn mouse and keyboard. Like I'm not going to live long enough to figure out where the aim button. Like, what do you mean? But now maybe there's a chance for that. Maybe I will hop in and see what it's all about.
It also like changes the meta. Like the meta before, like a couple days ago, was like clearly, you know, like 5 total weapons. Where like when you remove skill-based matchmaking, now I can go into the games knowing like, oh, I don't have to use these 4 or 5 specific weapons because I know that I'm going to be playing players of all tiers. And you'll see people using weird shit, because think about all the way back to D1 year 1, like people used weird shit because like you didn't see Thorn and Last Word and every single player. Like you should have, like those are the 2 best guns, but people didn't. People used weird auto rifles and pulses before they were good.
Shin or whatever, the blue.
Yeah, Shinjin C. Yeah, and E.
One because it was actually a rather effective weapon for a blue gun in Crucible. I remember that clearly. Yeah, great point.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will definitely spice up the meta, because again, you don't have to use the greatest things in the world because people are just all over the place, different skill levels, and it can be more fun. I also think the one thing that you brought up is like, you know, people six stacking. I think that will also stop. I think people being in fire teams will stop because they don't care anymore. Like they know that they're just gonna randomly play good and bad players constantly, so like they can win no matter what. Like you don't have to sweat your ass off in every single lobby.
Yeah.
So part of 6 stacking in like last season was to prevent getting this lobby balancing.
Yeah,
you would circumvent lobby balancing and make it so you didn't get players who'd never played the game before on your team. You would force them on the team, and now you don't have to worry about that. I don't believe. If lobby balancing isn't a current thing now, that might be
lobby
part
balancing
of the reason
is still a thing.
Is it?
Yeah, but I think because there is no skill base, it's putting so many people of all skills that it doesn't work. It literally doesn't do anything.
Cool. It's definitely an interesting scenario, and that particular reason right there is why I'm excited for Iron Banner for the first time in forever, because Iron Banner before was a nightmare unless you had a 6 stack, because you knew you were going to be getting the sweatiest players imaginable for your skill tier. And now jumping into Iron Banner as a solo player might actually be a feasible thing in the future. Cannot wait. And I'm looking forward to seeing where Bungie's going with it. I'm actually kind of glad that AFK Forges became the hot ticket item because it took all the heat off of people being mad about skill-based matchmaking. Maybe nobody will talk about it anymore. And,
still see some comments here and there, but I don't know if they're warranted. A lot of the Reddit's like, I don't want to play against sweaty players every game.
Welcome to our life for the last 5 years. Go play comp.
I don't know. So freelance comp was such a... I wanted to hit legend by myself last season, and the meta and the cheese as my glory got higher. I don't even think glory mattered. Like the environment itself became putrid. Like like just the
rough,
wall hacks and the mountaintop where I'm always one shot. Like just the environment itself made it unsafe. I couldn't compete, but I just got tired of getting killed by dopey shit. So I'm wondering how that, and it's probably even worse this season with the catalyst for the new grenade launcher.
Witherhorde.
Yeah. Which I may never get that because I hate grenade launchers. I may never get that catalyst.
It's a lot.
You don't have the mountaintop either?
I have mountaintop. I lost my mind doing it. I did it in momentum control, and I lost my damn mind doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, the catalyst quest for the Witherhorde is a little insane. Insane. Thank goodness.
I wonder if it gets nerfed.
Well, as you level up the season pass, it quadruples like some of your progress towards
my grenade kills in Crucible are at 0. How do you quadruple 0?
Yeah, you're right.
For a guy who mained Erentil, man, I really hate a lot of guns. If that isn't ironic.
I don't know.
But
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff there. And that's that was all the news I had. I wanted to finish up with the skill-based matchmaking thing because, of course, that was a big topic of conversation there. And glad to see everybody's got their own opinions of it.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. Well, all right. I think that takes us into the question and answer section of the show before we wrap things up, right, Dan?
Yep. Sounds good to me. I've got a few here. One from Desmeraldo. So my question for tonight, what is your solution or idea to make leveling fun?
Ooh.
So I'm going to credit Uber Ginger with this because this was a tweet that I'd read that was actually useful. And it basically came down to the content being what levels you up.
Yeah.
Like starting the dungeon at maybe slightly above what our seasonal level would have been at the start. So like if we were 1,000 or 1,010, whatever, it would have been like, okay, the dungeon starts at like 1,015 and ends at like 1,030 or something like that, where we could manage being involved in it the entire way so that we got new content and that content was fruitful all the way through, which gave us a reason to go back and do it again. And I think I'm going to credit the Uber Ginger with that answer because I thought that made the most sense. But the thing about seasonal content is there's not enough of that to really hold over a grind for the rest of the season. If that makes any sense. The only new content we got was the story missions in the dungeon. We didn't get any other new content.
Right, because the story missions are weekly. You're going to be able to do that, the interference mission every week, and then it's just the dungeon and contact with the Humble.
Which isn't even it's kind of like clearing the bunker, which thank God it's once a week because daily was really atrocious. But
it was a little much. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're also getting another public event on IO or on Titan.
Right. Yeah. And the pyramids get there.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, well, if everything was 10-10, like if you remained at 10-10 and you just relied on your artifact to level you up, would that be a fix?
No, people hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people hate it. And it would just be the same as the season of the Undying. You'd just be on the moon running lost sectors and bounties.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think it's a really hard topic because everyone complains about the level system, but no one has an actual answer. Like they expect Bungie just to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, Bungie has tried different leveling for 6 years, and none of it has ever, satisfied everybody. I think they need to find a mixture of everything that they've worked on. I think that they're missing out. I think they've caved a few times. You know, the hardcore players want leveling to actually be meaningful and only be, obtainable in raids and stuff. And I'm not saying that is what they should do, but I do think that, like, for example, they caved with the Pinnacle, light system. The Pinnacle light system, for people that don't know, was not supposed to be obtainable. It was actually supposed to be impossible. That was the point. Yep. It was supposed to be something that you chased every single week, and maybe one person in the entire world got lucky enough to get the extra +10. Yeah. And they caved and just made it a joke. It's literally a joke at this point. You could do it in a week. People have pretty much done it already this week. Like one person's already, I'm pretty sure.
That was when everything would only go up one per item.
Yeah. And there
never
was only
go up more
3.
Than that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There was only like 3 total in the entire game. Now there's like 10 something +2s. I don't know. But yeah, so like I think they could find a better system. Like again, I think they should bring that back. Like, let's go back to D1, right? And the only way to get maximum light was by beating the raid. That was the only way to hit maximum. I think that needs to go back, but that maximum light should only matter in like the raid. You shouldn't need that in Crucible and other places. Yep. Like it shouldn't benefit you anywhere else. So that way that like more casual players who don't have time or whatever or can't access the raid, it doesn't affect them. It doesn't hurt them. But Bungie also needs to tell you that. Like again, because the Pinnacle system wasn't affecting anybody, but like people believed they needed to hit 10-10 originally. Like they thought, I have to hit this light level. They didn't.
The thing about that system in D1 was that the difference between, and this goes back to Vault of Glass and Forever 29, but the difference between like 26 and 27 was even being able to step foot in Vault and survive a shot. Then 27 and 28 was like, okay, I can survive getting shot twice. And then 29, you were like, all right, I'm pretty good here. And then at 30, you were not like over leveled, but you were pretty much, you didn't have to be the best player on the planet to survive. And like that's kind of gone too. Like I don't even know what the deltas are at this point in the game, but like the numbers are so exuberant, like that's like they don't have meaning anymore. Like 1045.6, like what does that even mean?
Not to mention that like leveling up or trying to raid every week on normal Vault of Glass was also because you wanted to go into hard mode with without being just like farted on by a goblin and immediately just dying.
Right, because you could get to level 30 with normal Vault of Glass, right? The reason to run hard
You
mode
had
was
to use an exotic.
Yeah.
You have to get an exotic helmet, and then like you could hit like the max power. But Vault of Glass hard mode was where you got that max power level helmet or light level helmet at the time.
Yeah, or the exotic.
Right.
I deleted a warlock and remade the character and ran through the entire story, all the Nightfalls and raids to try and get my warlock to level 30. Like that was the level of commitment to being max level and I've never had that experience ever again in this game.
It's because they removed a lot of that.
I had 300s and I deleted a character every single week trying to get off of 20.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so they've been bouncing back and forth with that format in raids with the prestiges and stuff. Some have it, some don't, and I don't think they've ever landed on a solid like formula for that. But I don't know. As someone who played a lot of Destiny 1, what Ninjy's saying, that's the largest or the biggest motivation that kept me going back into reset every time.
Oh yeah.
The avenues of getting exotics were Nightfalls or the chests in the raid. It wasn't a random drop in Crucible.
A red bar acolyte who gives you shards of Galanor when it's the strongest exotic in the game. The basic red bar enemy that drops it.
There's definitely that aspect that I miss about the game, and it's one of the reasons why ever since the artifact became a thing, I've pretty much stopped caring about reaching power level and pinnacle level, because as long as you're doing like anything else with like bounties and stuff, you'll artificially get there still. So I don't know. It's definitely
the backlash
different.
would be huge from that though. Like,
oh, I know
the community would lose their mind.
Oh, for sure.
There just has to be a mixture. And people are gonna, whine and cry no matter what. There's always gonna be the same people who cry every time, always gonna cry. So it doesn't matter. The Reddit community. I mean, sorry.
You're right.
Yeah, you just have to find and I think like what Nem is saying. Like, I think that you could have activities that maybe just ignore the artifact, like a PVE activity that just it doesn't actually use it, and maybe it's a raid or something. Because again, at the end of the day, like, Bungie has never shied away from raids, stuff like that. They've always embraced it and made it super hard, because they know that it's something like less than 10% of the entire community is completed a raid. Like, it's really tiny. Like, people don't do raids. Overall. And so there's no reason to make them any easier. Like, just keep it difficult, keep something in there to chase, whether it's again, I think the pinnacle system was a good idea. It's just they kind of just got away from it because people complained and they caved.
Yeah.
It's just a new power cap now. Like, just do the regular stuff and you'll reach pinnacle anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the answer is make the soft cap the cap for Crucible, no matter what, and make pinnacle rewards and pinnacle level only matter in endgame PvE activities, where people who don't step into those PvE activities don't need to worry about being max level. So if the dungeon is the only place where it matters, and you aren't power level, you just don't participate in the dungeon. And then you can complain to Bungie that you can't play the endgame activities because you're too goddamn lazy to figure out a way to get your power level up.
Just AFK farm.
Bro, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
AFK farming right now.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm a jaded D1 player.
We knew this.
Y'all walking uphill both ways in the snow without shoes on them. Tell these kid guardians how difficult it was for us old men back in the day.
Wasn't easy.
It was not, but it was fun.
Happened twice too. It was, year one you had the Forever 29, and then in year 2 you couldn't get a stupid ghost shell from King's Fall.
Oh my
until
god!
They gave it away. They gave it to you in the stupid Crimson. They gave us all the chocolate ghost shell.
Yeah.
It was level 320 or something, I think.
But Coffee has a question. With stasis coming as the new class element and purportedly a new enemy coming in the fall, do you guys think there's still any chance for Dark Guardians that we would fight against in PvE?
Maybe not in PvE. I don't know. So I think the way they're going with the story is that darkness isn't exactly tantamount to evil.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean evil. It just means something different. So I don't know. I don't know about us fighting other guardians in PvE.
You know what's funny is that a lot of people that I know, so when the reveal happened, I was at work and I had completely stepped away from social media because I just wanted to come home, relax, and watch the reveal. And a lot of people were like, "You're gonna lose your mind on the reveal. There's the three words. Just watch out for it." And I'm watching the thing, and then they reveal, like wield the darkness, and I'm just kind of like, I was sitting there, I was looking at stasis, and I'm like, huh. That's not what I expected it in my head. I don't know. The reaction that I had to was just like even Ashen was like, dude, like Nemesis is just gonna lose it when he sees it. And I was just more like, huh. The one thing that I'll say I'm intrigued about Stasis is the fact that it's gonna be customizable and not locked in diamonds like our current subclasses. And they're doing that as kind of to experimenting with how that works, and hopefully at some point in the future the solar, void, and arc subclasses will have that same sort of customizability that we had in Destiny 1. So I don't know, I'm in kind of like wait and see. I was more excited, like I had more of a reaction when they said Vault of Glass and Cosmodrome was coming back. I damn near cried.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, they're doing it. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. Stasis looks all right.
Let me ask you this, because when you think the darkness, I don't think the word stasis is what would have come to my mind. The definition of stasis is a period or state of inactivity or equilibrium. Now the darkness has been dormant, so I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But like,
we've never seen it though, because we've never had like a clear definition of what the darkness is supposed to be. We've heard minions of the darkness, and whenever we hear that, we either think Fallen, Vex, Hive, Cabal. We've never had an actual manifestation of what this darkness is supposed to be.
I feel like
until Shadowkeep that we kind of started seeing the nightmares and kind of like that, but I never expected it to have this almost like icy look. That, I mean, and I don't know if those are just filters and maybe it has like the actual power has a different color.
No, it's definitely ice.
It definitely looks like ice.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Bungie's tricking us. I think this is like a tiny tease of the darkness, because I think the darkness is pretending to be good. Like at the end of the day, like people keep saying like they're not bad. It's like, really, the collapse happened. They tried to murder all of humanities. I think they're bad, and I think they're tricking us, and they're playing like on Eris. They're turning her, and she's fallen for.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think this stasis thing is a tease, and I think it's like they're giving us some of their power, because I think they're crazy powerful. Like they're very scary. They're the reason why Callus is like running for his life. He fears them. Like, I think it's a tease. They're giving us a little tease of power, and I also don't know, like the way that they're introducing stasis, right? Like, we're not meeting the darkness until 3 years from now, or at least we're not really seeing them until the third DLC. We're seeing a fallen enemy in September, and this fallen enemy stole this ability. Like, she got it somehow. She was also trying to steal Siva, so like I don't know what this is story wise.
And in the preview, when we see Eris like kind of like with this ability, it is right, like she's on Europa when it's happening, so it could be that it just like manifests as ice on that location
because it's an ice moon or whatever.
Exactly. And so but what really struck me more was like when she was kind of standing in the snow and it was more modulating around her, kind of like how if you put
like a kaleidoscope.
No, not so much that. If you put salt on just a steel plate and you vibrate the plate, the salt will start to move around in a way where it harmonizes and also it'll just create patterns. So it could be that stasis is somewhere along that.
Darkness, Bruce Lee, where he says become water.
Yes.
Stasis is whatever it is, wherever it is.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, someone in chat's like, if it was on Mars, it'd be sandcastles. It may not be too far fetched from some form of Like
Manipulation.
Yeah, environmental manipulation being whatever and wherever it is. I just think it's odd that stasis was the word, because that's not a mistake. The word that they are using for it is very much on purpose. And when you look at the definition behind it, it seems odd to me.
It's super strange, and it's considered it's gonna be a new element along with our weapons as well. So it's so it's a little weird. And some of the stuff that like we saw on the trailer too, it's like the warlock has a staff. The hunter looks like they were wielding or dual wielding pickaxes. Yeah. And the titan almost looked like he had almost like a sword or shield, or like I don't know, this huge like gauntlet of some sort of on his hand. I don't know. It looks strange. I expected it to kind of look something along the lines of when like Ares touched the statue in the ship, and it was kind of like, you know, that had that bluish black type of color, and they look totally different than what we saw on the trailer. But I don't know.
I find it odd that it's not like greenish, or like, I mean, I think Thorn, like when I think darkness,
but that's Hive.
Yeah.
That is
But that's Hive. That's Hive juju. That's why bad juju has that green little fart cloud.
Yeah. Because the only thing closest you could think about is like, because Shin made the Lumina, right? He combined the two sides of like dark and good, and that created like white, like this light gun. So like, do you guys think Shin's gonna like stop on by finally? And because he's like all for like this the darkness side of the story, and like
that's a Nem question.
Wielding both sides.
That's gonna be interesting, because I mean he does use it. Well, he's okay with it, but to an extent.
Right. He thinks that there is a balance, a perfect balance.
There could be a balance there.
Right.
Because he spent his life being like pure good, and then it didn't work out, and so then he like started killing all the
so he killed Nim, and you know, we know what happened.
Wow,
from there
toxic, dude, toxic.
That's what you get for voicing a character in that. This is what you get.
Look, man. Fair, not so valid.
Quasi Kyle asks, serious question: which is the best form of Gambit? OG, Prime, Garden of Salvation, or Contact?
Garden of Salvation or Contact.
Contact.
Yeah.
Look, man.
I don't hate Gambit. I really don't. I try to find
guy.
reasons to despise it, and other than the teammates that you may end up with, who are obviously either working on bounties or triumph scores or whatnot, I can't imagine actually playing the game seriously. It's not bad.
Look, I've spent an ungodly amount of time in Gambit, and right now I the only thing that just takes me away from it is fucking Xenophage.
Any kind of power up in it all, any power up in general,
it makes it not fun. The thing is, no, here's the thing. Like truth, okay, I can live with truth, and there's sure it can get annoying. But if you put yourself out there, like you're asking to get like rocket launcher with truth. Yeah. Xenophage can just tickle your chin from like literally the opposite side of the map, because the Gambit maps are like medium sized, and just if they're a high power level, man, if they're Lost Sector or if they're bounty goblins, they will 100% just straight up one shot you with Xenophage with like no repercussion. And if they're using mouse and keyboard, even like, it's just that gun is dumb. It's so stupid in Gambit.
It's always been something. It was Creambreaker's bow. Now it's Xenophage. It was Hammerhead.
I feel like
the foundational root problem is power weapons.
The foundational root problem is invading. They need to rework invading. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
No wall hacks. No wall hacks.
It's literally 4 against 1.
Yeah, they need help. They need an overshield. They need wall hacks. They need to be locked to some sort of relic. They shouldn't be allowed to use their guns. And as soon as they other teams shouldn't be able to use their heavy. Like
the original format. Yeah, the original format of Invasion was in a form of using like the Eye of Riven in Last Wish.
Yeah.
That was kind of like their initial conceptual plan, that when you invade, you're taken, you know, and you use like those blasts that you can use in Last Wish.
Right.
Yeah.
But they went against it because they felt like it limited players' ability in the sandbox of the game, and they don't want to tell people how to play, basically.
I don't know. I think that's fair.
I feel like it would be a cool. I feel like it would be a cool concept. I'd be all about it because I love using that Eye of Riven. But no, I don't know. It's just.
I mean, at this point, what's the worst that could happen if they found a way to re-implement that? It's already a relatively abandoned playlist.
Oh yeah, and they've also, as far as I can tell, they've accepted that no one likes it and they've stopped working on it. Like it's been over a year and nothing has been added to Gambit. Like they gave up pretty quickly.
Sad days. I love Gambit.
Well, now they have to. Is there discussion of making one version of it, or are they just?
Yeah, they're combining it. No, they said they're combining the two.
Ooh, okay.
So they're going to take out planets, but they're going to leave Gambit.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. No, they haven't.
Wow, Aura.
What?
Toxic
I like
Aura.
it. I don't despise the game mode. It's not that terrible. It just is a little bit off, and I think because we were so conditioned to a PvE and a PvP environment that we're like almost whatever the word is for it,
predisposed
to not enjoy it. We're like conditioned, like we're like programmed to think that's stupid. I think a PvE VP game mode could function well. I think it's just a smidge off, and there's also no value in it. Is the other thing. There's no, other than getting your pinnacles or your powerful reward. There's not really a whole lot going on to drive people to that playlist.
Right.
Tashi in chat says. Tashi in chat says Gambit exists as long as the Drifter is alive. Only one solution exists.
Wow, rude.
Yikes.
Absolutely
the seems
rude.
like a dangerous dude, man. I don't know if I'd be messing with him.
He's the best character in the game.
100%.
He's literally like he's the pure good guy, and everyone thinks he's a bad guy, but he's not.
Failsafe is
nice
my character in the game.
Those recordings 10 feet away from him.
Yeah. For the decryptor thing for the Umbral Inkrans, yeah.
But have you guys heard that line in Contact where Eris calls him by his proper real name?
Oh yeah.
Where she calls him Jermaine. And I was just like, what the fuck is Jermaine?
She keeps making fun of him like in all the content. Like she says something to him in the dungeon as well. Like she calls him like disgusting or something. Like
she needed to.
She does not like the Drifter. She hates.
She had to replace Cade. You know.
Yeah.
It used to be Cade that she would mess with. Now it's
That's great.
Drifter.
It's so weird that like all the characters, like the way that they interact with the Drifter, like they don't know like who he is. Like really, they still think he's like this like scumbag. But like we know, if you paid attention to the lore, like you saw that he's like one of the first like risen.
Mm-hmm.
He like saw like how evil Guardians were, and that's why he hates Guardians, and like he doesn't want anything to do with them. Yeah. So like it's just like it's really weird that like everyone sees him as this like evil, up to no good guy, but it's really like he's actually the opposite. He's kind of like actually on the side of like the good.
He's trying to save everybody.
Yep.
Or at least save some people. He knows what's coming.
That man is running, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Gambit was all about, because he knows what's coming.
Yeah. Him and Callus just want to survive.
Yeah.
So
and drink purple stuff.
I've got two more questions. Mumster Truck in chat says, do you think Bungie can take a page out of Warframe's playbook when it comes to the microtransaction shop and implement community curated content like armor, ornaments, or would that just put us back to where the coolest armor is locked behind a price tag again?
How long have I've mentioned that to me?
You've done
It's
that
been years, man.
For at least a year.
Yeah.
At
least a year. At least a year.
There's so many talented. Yeah, there's so many talented artists there that could collaborate with 3D designers that could make that happen. And if there's a way to profit off Eververse, it would be that community created ornaments. I think that'd be super
my
sick.
concern would be, is this commission based where the artists are compensated based off sales? How much of that money goes to Bungie? Where there'd have to be a whole business aspect. It's great. A big brain. It's so great. But there's a business aspect of it that would have to make sense for both parties. And you can get into lawsuits really quickly in environments like that. That stuff can turn real ugly real quick. Yeah, so that would have to be very carefully done.
Whatever Digital Extreme has been doing with their community has worked out for them for the past several years. So there's a way.
And to give
And
Bungie credit where credit's due, like they seem like a really family oriented company. Like they truly love like their company, like everybody, and like they don't give a shit about like at the end of the day, Bungie doesn't seem like money has ever been something that was like crazy important to them. It's like I don't think that they would ever like sue or like go after anybody. Like they would work with them.
Right.
It wouldn't be my fear that Bungie would be going after it. It would be my
That's
fear
true.
that one of the people
That's true.
that would be the exact opposite. That one of the freelance artists would be going after them. Like
That's true.
it could be a situation where the art is never approved, where Bungie might have to make a payment like up front, like because artists are independent people, each artist would have independent terms. Just because I work on the business side of things like this in a similar fashion, I just could see how that gets really not simple, really complicated really quickly.
Yeah.
And if I were Bungie, I'd be more interested in protecting my assets, considering the fact that my art department kind of kicks ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's their best
Like
department.
Bungie's art department is really fucking good at what they do.
Art music is their two best teams.
Yeah.
Easily.
They're- But I mean, or they're kind of doing something like that already with working with the artists and like selling the designs that they've created with like the shirts and the posters and the mugs.
How many
So
that's licensed?
I mean, this would be almost like the same thing, wouldn't it? Because you're just creating a design based off of an original.
So I guess it gets convoluted, but like, so like if I make a T-shirt and that's like got a warlock on it, that I'm not the artist of the warlock. The warlock in the shirt is actually not licensed. I could actually be, if Bungie so cared, they could they tell me to take it down or sue me. Is that kind of what you're referencing?
Bungie acts more in good faith with their fair use with the community, though. And
I think what Or is referring to is the opposite side, though.
That's what I was like.
Yeah, he thinks that people would go after Bungie.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they're protected, right? At the end of the day, they did create it all, so I don't think they could really get people could really go after them.
The last question is one that I have. I think. What would you guys think of Europa? They talk about splitting people off into groups of threes. They really like to do that in the lore in Destiny, in the gameplay and everything. We've seen the triad that have gone to Europa. What are the odds that we get a social space on Europa that has all three of them there as like a Vanguard hub?
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Very possible.
Yeah. Given that they're the seemingly the main NPC focus of Beyond Light, I would say that's probably fairly likely. They'll probably be the three NPCs in whatever public space we're going to be getting.
Wait, who's the third one? Because I'm confused.
We got the Exo Stranger.
That's it, the Stranger. That's the one I was forgetting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they're all three of them are the characters who have transcended their design, so the ones that are closer to the darkness than anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine the public space would be probably somewhere like at the Exo creating factory, right? Or like isn't that the whole reason why we're going there? Isn't that
the raid?
Might be.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is the raid.
Yeah.
Raid is in the
Deep
Deep
Stone
Stone
Crypt.
Yeah.
Very interesting. That could be
Do you guys think Cade's coming back because of this whole thing, or like some form of him? Not him per se, but like somehow we recreate a new Exo that has like his name, but obviously not his like soul or essence or whatever.
It'd be Cade 7, right?
I don't know. That whole thing is so confusing because that's
Not
just his
necessarily.
reset. That just means his
He hasn't
like,
been
mind is
wiped.
reset.
Yeah.
He's like he is gone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I wouldn't.
Dude, what if that's the reward for the raid? Like you beat the raid encounter and you get like a Cade.
You get
Instead of a gun drops, like a Cade drops.
You get a Cade to
Here's
walk.
your Cade.
Instead of getting a ghost or a guppy, you get your own personal Cade.
Cade.
Perfect.
As long as I can gift him to Eris, then that works for me.
Oh,
I could.
Man.
I mean, how big is Europa going to be? It would have to be. Oh, I guess it wouldn't matter because the reef was the reef was minuscule and you had at least 3 NPCs there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Wasn't
Like-
what? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, realistic, like in actual reality, I'm pretty sure Europa is like way bigger than Earth, because like Jupiter is like the size of all the planets in our universe combined, or some shit, and that moon is the second or
Yeah.
the first biggest moon of all. I think it's the second biggest. I'm pretty sure it's massive. Like, I'm pretty sure this place is supposed to be huge.
Yeah.
Well, according to Luke, this is one of the locations that they've been working on since early Destiny 1. So
Gotcha.
there's going to be a lot of detail to the space.
Yeah.
Europa is 970 miles in radius. according to
Yeah, it's a
Google.
little bit smaller than Earth's moon.
Okay.
So they had kind of been talking about, well, from what I understand, it seems like this had been content that maybe they had thought about as a third box option in some regard. And then now now that we're in this post Activision world, we're not getting that third box for quite some time, it seems. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I would imagine that this would be rather large comparatively to like base Destiny 2.
Do you think there's also a possibility of another hidden location, like another planet or something? Because like with Forsaken, like if we're thinking that this is going to be on par with Forsaken, Dream was completely like they tricked us. We had no idea that was coming. Everything was focused on Tangled Shore, right? And then last minute it was like, oh, and then your main destination is actually the Dream City. And we were just like, oh. So do you think Europa is another one of those trickeries? Like,
I hope
your main
so.
focus, but then there's actually a whole new planet.
I earnestly hope so. That would be the Dreaming City was such a fantastic surprise at the end of the Forsaken storyline. And you know, of course, the Dreaming City started up and had its own story to go through. It was probably one of my favorite surprises in all of the Destiny lore. So I hope so. I hope we get something like that. We go through Europa and then boom, at the end of it, entirely new location.
They're taking an awful lot of things out to make space for just one planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it would make sense that there would be additional social spaces that would be added to it. What it could be, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I think the possibility is most certainly there, considering what they are removing. I'm not saying that they would maximize that space, you know, pulling stuff in. But
it's a future-proof thing for sure. Like,
yeah,
removing all that stuff is definitely not just for September.
And remember, we're getting Europa and the Cosmodrome.
That's
back
right.
in September, but still, that's a lot of world spaces and stuff to be getting rid of for just those two.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there was more.
They just added Sparrow support to Mercury, guys.
And now it's gone. Turns out that was the cost.
Mercury is going to free up like 3 megabytes. Let's be honest. Like, it's the equivalent of like removing a 1-minute song from your Spotify playlist. Like, we're not talking about.
We can't talk about Spotify here because of DMCA. Anyways.
Right. Even speaking of it, gets the stream taken down. But yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff to look forward to there, and can't wait to jump into Europa and whatever's going to be beyond that. I likes it. Well, all right, was that the last question we had, Dan?
That was the last question.
Well, all right. I do believe that's a show, gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 243 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Special thanks to Nim, who got booted somewhere in the middle of all of this. Rest in peace, brother. We got you. And also, very special thanks to our guest tonight, the one, the only Ninjy. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, dude.
Thank you again for having me.
It's been fantastic to have you here for your expertise and all of your experience with the game. Good time talking to you. And of course, before we get on out of here, we do want to give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you. You know, any channels you wanna plug and all of that stuff, and when you stream and give them your schedule and all that good stuff. So if you would, take it away.
You can mainly find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ninjy, Ninjy. And then Twitter, Ninjy with 2 Y's. And that is it.
Is there a reason there's 2 eyes there on Twitter?
So my name originally was always like 2 Y's, and then I could never get it on Twitch, and when I became partnered, I just was like, 1 Y would look super clean, so let me get that.
Yeah.
And then so now like Just
Did they change your name while you were live by chance?
I can't remember.
Okay, because when I went from Evil Aura to just Aura, I was live streaming, and the way it works is they delete your channel,
right,
and move everything to your new one. So while I was live streaming at twitch.tv/Evil Aura, my channel got deleted, and everybody got moved to twitch.tv/Aura. While I was live, I was playing Fortnite duos with Gratzby, and we won in like insane dramatic fashion. We win this game. And like chat was moving the whole game, and chat's just dead silent, not moving at all. No, like whatever, chat gets lurky sometimes. It happens. So I look in Discord and everyone's like, dude, we see you. Like, what are you talking about? And Gratzby's like, dude, your name on Twitch is just Aura now. Like his stream refreshed. And my name went from Evil Aura to just Aura. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, your name is just Aura now. Like, what happened? Well, I emailed my partnership rep and asked him if Aura was available because the channel had like 3 followers and like wasn't following anybody. So my partnership rep changed my channel, but never bothered to look if I was streaming at the time.
Oh God!
Didn't tell you.
Deleted. Everyone was like, "Did he get banned?" Like because some people didn't refresh, and I got DMs on Twitter like, "Did you get like banned on Twitch?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" So yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen to you. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
Oh,
well, good to know if you're ever changing your name. Make sure it happens when you're not in the middle of a live stream.
Take a vacation or something.
Take a week. Well, right on. Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Ninja. You were a fantastic guest. It was great to have you here.
Yep.
Right on. Of course, our buddy Nim Plays got booted from the call, but we can shill for him anyway. You can find him at twitter.com/Nim Plays. He's mostly known for making Twitter montages of random ridiculous things in the Crucible and being too edgy for his own good.
So edgy.
So edgy. We love you, buddy. We love you. It was great to have you back tonight. Sorry Discord booted you out. But also, beyond that, Mr. Aura, where you at, man?
Hey, you can find me at twitch.tv/Aura, no longer evil. And twitter.com/evilaura3vil_AURA, hoping to get back to some regularity and content creation this upcoming week. Hopefully. Been saying that for like 2 months.
Yeah. Looking forward to it when it finally happens, man. Good stuff there. Dan?
Hi. My name is Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danfinity, where the eyes are L's. You can find me on Twitch 3 days a week, twitch.tv/Danfinity. You can find the podcast Side Quests anywhere that you get your podcasts. This week I interviewed my friend Vivian McConnell, aka Vivi Lightbody, about her new album that she released this past May, called Make a Shrine or Burn It. Outside of that, I will be taking part in a campaign with Karma's Revenge. They're doing a Black Lives Matter charity stream, so I'll be taking part in that on Thursday. Outside of that, I have currently 7. I have 7 Umbrals in my Postmaster currently.
I kept getting kicked to orbit.
You kept getting kicked to orbit? You should have.
Yeah, let me see how many I have. Let me see. I have 8.
You have 8? Damn it. All right, well, fair. Anyways, that's it.
Right on. Yeah, I'm full. My Postmaster's full. My inventory's full, so I'm good to go. I'm ready. I'm ready to jump at least 10 power level points after the end of all of this. Productive live stream, gentlemen. Of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. This week, probably going to be more basic live streams. I've got 2 other characters to get geared up here in the Season of Arrivals. We'll be jumping into that, getting our dungeon runs in and all of that kind of good stuff. Might also stream a bit more of the Division 2 and Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I've been trying to get caught back up in those, and I think we just had a big patch drop in Division 2 that I'm going to need to dive back on into. So lots of fun there. Of course, for any of the news, that's going to be going over on the Planet Destiny YouTube channel at youtube.com/Planet Destiny. So make sure you're staying tuned for all of that. But all right, everybody, that is it for episode 243 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Bye, everybody. Big ups to our guest, Ninjy. You the dog, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot.
But all right, before we close this out on Twitch, who are we going to raid? We should raid somebody.
Let's leave it up to Ninjy.
Oh, right. Put the pressure on the guest. I love it.
Oof. All right, let's see who we got.
I know we've got the GCX thing going on right now, right?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
They are currently playing at Tetris 99. We should definitely do
Oh,
that.
on the Switch?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it. Go send them
Sounds
some
good.
love. Everybody here loves that good old GCX. Great
That
event,
they
great people,
do.
great cause.
That they do. We're sending you guys over there now. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. And we'll see you next week, okay?
Bye, everybody. Have a good one. Stay safe.